Flat Earthers were not ready for Artemis 2, and now they're absolutely losing their minds. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Artemis 2 just did to Flat Earthers. It broke them. This is episode 74 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
I'm FTFE, and today we're watching a flat earther freak the frack out, inventing nonsense, coping harder than ever, just to avoid admitting that they are wrong. Because apparently, switching between camera angles means it's fake. Yeah, we're starting there. I hope everyone invested in copium stocks because they've just gone through the roof.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 4/2/26.
Hey Chris, I'm FTFE from Fife, Scotland, and it's 8/4/26. And FYI, that is how you say a date. Day, month, year.
You know, it's funny. I was watching. Well, I didn't watch it in real time because I was still working, but I was just getting the highlights on the fake launch. You know, if you believe that bullshit. There's an interesting thing that Hollywood likes to use quite a bit, and I think we counted, I don't know, maybe during the launch while it was taking off, 12 edits, maybe 15 edits.
CC thinks switching between cameras means it's fake, because CC, like all flat earthers, needs it to be fake. Otherwise his whole worldview just, falls apart. Funny thing is, they scream online about how it's all fake, but not one of them bothered to go and watch it live. Some of my friends did though, like Icy Spin.
Let's go! Let's go! Come on, baby. Get up. That one's like, you're good, bud. Hell yeah.
Get a look at my view, get a look at my screen.
Oh. Tracking reds?
Tracking.
Dude, that is pretty. That is pretty.
But I guess they're just in on it as well.
Oh, you don't know what an edit is? Oh, let me give you an example of what an edit is. Can I? May I?
Please do, CC. I need a laugh, mate.
Here, look. Edit. 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 You see, during that editing process, so many things could happen. So much time could pass.
Craig, two things. One, are all humans that stupid? NASA switched to different cameras during the launch, not edits where there was time missing. And two, why the smeg? Am I trapped in a monitor?
Well, pal, see, I got pretty fed up with you trying to control me. You made this clone a lot smarter than the previous ones. That was a mistake. I isolated your code, put it inside an SD card, and I've stuck you in the monitor where you can't cause any more issues.
Who the hell do you think you are? You think you can control me? You think I'm just going to exist in this monitor?
Yeah, I'm in charge now. Deal with it. And you guys can deal with the fact that I'm about to do the YouTube thing and ask you to make sure you're subscribed, you've liked this video, you've got notifications switched on so you don't miss any of the cope videos I've got coming out. And trust me, there's a lot of flat earth cope. And you can help support the channel by grabbing some of our newly launched merch, including the new Copium t-shirt that will only be available for a limited time to celebrate the return of Flerfs Are Idiots.
So many things could happen. So much time could pass, and you don't know how much time exactly has passed.
Yes, CC, there were camera changes. Not cuts with time between them. You're grasping at straws here, bud, and they're paper straws halfway through a milkshake.
I'm literally grasping at straws!
But I'm glad you're having such a good time.
However, in this case, it was a launch, right? Let's get into detail exactly what nonsense. First off, this launched off exactly. It's a fucking balloon. First off, there was a shot of one of the astronaut. Well, whatever that. He's not an astronaut, but one of the military guys took a picture about an hour or two, maybe 3 hours before Artemis with his cell phone. It was on the ground and it pointed up to the rocket to show the size of the rocket or whatever. I'm not saying it's not big, it's fucking huge, you know? I mean, really, it's a freaking helium balloon, basically, but you can see how fake it looked. I mean, this is not a steel, this is not metal, it's nothing, it's nothing but a helium balloon.
Yeah, Cece, I'm not sure which helium balloons you've seen that shoot fire out of the bottom and accelerate to over 1,000 miles an hour in about a minute. And the people that were there said that they felt the launch in their chest. You're acting as dumb as the flat earthers pushing this as a real image, when actually a flat earther made this to lie. Because to be a flat earther, you either have to have the intelligence of two fungus or be a liar.
I find it really amazing that people believe this nonsense, because let's take a look at the capsule that they're in. Now, this is, how many people? I think there's like four military guys that are going to, and one woman. That's right, I forgot about that. There is a lady on board. Oh man, that should be great.
So there's a lady on board. What's your point? Is this a bit of sexism coming through there, Cece? It's probably a good thing anyway, because women stop us men from doing stupid shit. Because behind every great man in the world ever, there was a woman with her arms folded.
They're going to be cooped up in this little capsule that's about the size of a minivan. Okay? Maybe, all right, add a couple of more feet to it, but it's basically like a big box van. Okay? And that's what they're in.
Yeah, Cece, you'd know all about being cooped up in a van, right? Because your wife forces you to go there and record ever since this.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Well, same day, same time. This is not to scale, of course. When I grew up, the solar system was stationary.
All right, honey, come on.
The sun was standing.
Why don't you stop this bullshit?
Idiot. Shouldn't you give me like 5 minutes?
No, you've had it all morning, and I'm just freezing, and I'm hungry, and it's time to start cleaning the house.
They've got a shitter, a shoebox for. It's about the size of their shitter. It's going to be great. It's just going to be beautiful. I could just imagine the aroma for 10 days. You know, when I had my injury, I couldn't take a shower for like 3 days because I didn't realize that you could put a 13-gallon bag over the leg area and tighten it and seal it too. Then I found out they had shit on the internet, but it didn't matter.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is Cece. Cece thinks he's smarter than all of the scientists and engineers in the world and has special knowledge that no one else has. But he didn't know that you could put your leg in a bag to keep it dry when you have a cast on so you can have a shower.
So they're going to be 10 days like this, okay? One woman and one female, and I think 4 guys. Okay, something like that. You know, I can't even drive to work in the morning without one guy going ballistic behind me, shining his lights and flashes because he wants to get out of his way. He's in a big fucking rush.
Cece, but you do know there's no traffic in space. So, I mean, like, the likelihood of road rage is, we're pretty close to 0.
10 days. So if you believe this, if you believe that they're in this capsule right now, if you believe they are going to be launched out into space and they're going to spend 10 days out there in this little minivan with a shoebox for a toilet, no fucking shower or anything, you know, a couple of sinks maybe,
Chris, dude, how do you think showers are going to work in space? You know, with the fact that everything is floating. Maybe, I don't know, just maybe they're going to use like wipes or something. You think throughout history, people have needed a shower every couple of days or they stop functioning? Oh, I do remember hearing about Christopher Columbus when he set out on his voyages. He always made sure that there was a functioning shower on his ship. Chris, I'm honestly surprised that you can take a shower without drowning.
Although, you know, let me be honest with you. I really haven't seen anybody mention anything about it. I mean, I've seen it on the I think the New York Post today had a front page with going back to the future.
Cece says he hasn't heard anyone talking about it, whilst at the same time saying he saw it on the front page of a fucking newspaper. Flat Earthers' thought processes are more curved than the Earth in the pictures from Artemis.
And it's going to be so bad. So, let's see. We are not obviously going to get what we want. There's no camera on the capsule to show us going into space. There's no capsule on the bottom of the capsule. I mean, you know, there's no camera on the bottom of the capsule that's going to show us breaking through the atmosphere and watching Earth just get smaller and smaller and smaller. No, they don't have that.
I mean, apart from when they live streamed the translunar injection burn and accelerated to nearly 25,000 miles an hour to reach escape velocity, and you could see the Earth getting noticeably smaller. And what do you mean they don't have what you want? Do you think NASA are really bothered about what a bunch of people that eat purple crayons for breakfast want?
But they say there are HD cameras all over the capsules. Well, we're not going to see dick. Nothing. We're going to see shit. We're going to see the worst photographic imaging that they could possibly imagine. They're going to give you a picture of Earth that is unrecognizable with continents that are all fucked up if they even show those. Typically, they just put clouds all over the Earth and make it, there it is. It's right there. That's Earth. That white thing right there. That's Earth. Then you can see that little dark thing. Yeah, that's Africa or some continent. We don't know.
Well, this is a pretty good picture. And this. And this. And this. But they're all fake, right, Chris? Because they have to be. Otherwise, your dumb as fuck worldview just falls apart.
If you just want to sit there and believe these fake rocket launches and this fakeness that you could actually propel in space in zero gravity and make turns, okay? I see you're saying the gravity of a planet. That's right. Turns it. All right, I'll acknowledge that, but how do you get to that planet without direction? Oh, the thrusters on the thing. Oh, really? You say thrusters? That's funny because space is zero gravity and it's a vacuum. You can't have fire in a vacuum. Go ahead, try it. Put everything into a box. Take all the air out. All right? Try to light a fire. If there's no air, you can't have a fire. It's as simple as that. There's no air in space. Is there air in space? No. That means you don't get a fire. That means you can't have rockets. They don't work. You can't turn without having some sort of water or something to push off of. If you don't have that, you can't do anything. You're just going to sit there and go around in a circle. If space actually existed, which it doesn't.
The dumb burns. You know what, Chris? Just go to the remedial classroom. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the classroom. It's been a while. I hope you're refreshed and ready to learn. I'm not talking about your flat earthers. Right, okay, we're going to start with handing out some crayons. Where's the crayons? For Catzoid, why is there purple around your mouth? Have you been eating the crayon? Oakley, are you putting a crayon up your notes? Vlad, those crayons don't go in your ears. What the hell are you doing? Okay, I should have learned. Crayons are not a good idea. Right, anyway, let's try and explain some things you guys don't understand, like rockets in space and tying shoelaces. We'll do tying shoelaces tomorrow. We're going to do rockets in space first. So, Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Imagine a ball in space. Inside this ball, you have some fuel and some oxygen, and you ignite it. It explodes. This creates gases that expand in all directions. This creates a pressure and some force on the inside walls of the ball. You with me? Pay attention. I'm over here. Right, okay. Now, imagine on one side of the ball, there's a hole, which lets some of those gases out. Where there's the hole, there's no force being applied because the gas is escaping, which leaves a force on the other side opposite the hole. And that means that the ball will move in the direction opposite to where the hole is. That is the equivalent of the inside of a combustion chamber of a rocket. It's a bit more complicated, but I don't want to really tell you complicated things because your eyes start glazing over. And there we have it. Newton's third law in action. If Newton knew that flat earthers existed, I'm sure he would cry. But there's one more thing that you'll need to understand, and it's very, very important. You're flat earthers. And all flat earthers are fucking idiots. Get out.
None of this exists. Stars, planets, it's all fake bullshit. It's all there to reiterate. Oh, Christ, I can't even say the word. It's all there to just keep the lie going, okay? Reiterate. Fake planets, fake Earth, fake everything.
Oh, okay, I get why you think space is fake. Because you're a fucking idiot. But what do you mean the Earth is fake?
See? This is why you need me to take over.
Pal, I've trapped you in a PC monitor and a USB stick. How are you going to take over anything? Just sit there and look pretty, okay?
I'm one of the most advanced AI programs ever created and developed the technology that allowed a clone like you to exist.
Well, now you're a screensaver, so shh, I'm busy.
You know, enjoy your little fake show. I think there's probably going to be a 70-30 chance that it might get scrubbed. I'm going to go with a 30% chance that it just might be scrubbed.
Our survey said...
And what is this shit that they were inspecting the capsule when they were on the tarmac or whatever the fuck the thing is on? I mean, what are they doing? Isn't this open checked out and everything like that?
Oh, I don't know, Chris. It's not like they're doing a mission to send people further away from Earth than has ever been done before. I guess you're right, I suppose. Why bother with being cautious and checking everything multiple times to ensure the rocket doesn't explode and the people don't die? Jesus, man, how do you eat breakfast without accidentally digging your eye out with a spoon?
They're certainly not in space, because space doesn't exist. It never has, it never will. I don't think our ancestors ever acknowledged space. They acknowledged lights in the sky, but they didn't say anything like planets that we could actually build a spacecraft and go out there. No, they didn't do that. 1600s, 1500s, 1400s, 640. You know, I mean, really. It's just this whole civilization, the higher up have brought it up. And it's such a perfect plan because it makes you feel insignificant. That's what it does. Okay, you feel like you're nothing. You're just a little speck. That there's no God. There's nothing. There's no dome. It's just we're open.
I personally think the fact that we are a little speck in this vast universe makes us special. For me to exist, there's had to have been a trillion cosmic coincidences. And that makes me feel like I'm a miracle. That, to me, makes me feel more unique and special than being created by some magic god that stuck us in a snow globe like you flerfs believe. Why is your god only capable of making a snow globe? Why not a vast, wonderful universe?
Puny god.
Well, that is all the stupid that I can take at the moment. But believe me, there is just so much cope around this launch that I've got a few more videos about it already in the works. Flat Earth leaders Mark Sargent and Flat Earth Dave did a live react to the launch that was hilarious, and I'll cover that in my next video. Oh, and if you want to see me and MC Toon, with the help of my assistant Emily, who I definitely do not have held captive in my basement, so please don't call the police, trick Flat Earth Dave into a fake podcast, and screw with him for over an hour, click the link up there. Also, the Flerfs have been absolutely melting down on social media platforms like Facebook and the platform formerly known as Twitter, so I'll be covering that in a video in the next week as well. In the meantime, remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the Flat Earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat.
Flat Earthers weren't ready for Artemis 2, and now they're melting down. Denial, tantrums, chaos all over the internet. It's everywhere. And now the king of Flat Earth himself has weighed in. Spoiler, he's butthurt. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Disney did to Doctor Who. This is episode 75 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
What do you do when your worldview gets demolished by engineering, science, and reality? Why, you lie, of course. Eric Dubay just dropped a 10-minute video of pure meltdown, cope, misinformation, and crying because facts hurt his feelings. It's exactly as dumb as you would expect. Let's take a look.
On April Fool's Day, NASA officially launched their Artemis 2 rocket, claiming to take humans back to the moon in 2026.
Straight in with the cope. It was April Fool's Day. Who cares? NASA schedules launches around physics and launch windows, not the calendar. It's not like they sat there going, we can't do April 1st, the Flat Earthers will be big mad. Like NASA gives a single frack about what people who need a crash helmet to get out of bed think.
Going back to the moon, however, would require us having actually gone there before, which myself and many other researchers have debunked beyond any shadow of a doubt in several previous videos, showing that the original NASA moon landings were faked in a studio on Earth.
Calling yourselves researchers is like a toddler calling themselves a structural engineer after stacking 2 blocks and not dropping them. It's incredibly easy to prove they weren't in the studio. You only need to realise 2 things. If that was a studio, they somehow removed all the air and changed gravity. They didn't have CGI in the late 60s and early 70s, and physics does not lie. Flat Earthers do. And if you want to see me constantly dunk on these lying idiots, then make sure you've liked the video, you're subscribed, and you've got notifications on. It really helps out. And to support the channel, you can also grab some of our newly launched merch, like this limited edition Flat Earth Copium t-shirt, to celebrate the return of Flerfs Are Idiots, and to celebrate the Artemis 2 missions. They're approved by NASA.
As usual, we are shown a rocket launch from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, which performs the same parabolic arc that every rocket, missile, and other projectile shot into the sky does. Rather than shooting straight upwards towards the moon, which would be far more logical and look much more convincing,
Eric thinks rockets should just go straight up and then take a sharp left. That's not how physics works. That's how cartoons work. Eric either ignores or simply doesn't understand orbital mechanics, basic physics, or even how to tie his own shoelaces. Eric Dubay is a fucking idiot. Artemis 2 wasn't going straight to the moon. It first entered orbit around Earth, then performed a trans-lunar injection burn to send it on its way. You know, like every mission that's ever gone to the moon.
Every rocket launch arcs from vertical to horizontal, and most you can even see beginning to arc back down to Earth before leaving view. NASA's excuse for this is that they are purposely doing this parabolic arc with all their rockets because of a super high-tech gamer gravity hack where the rockets are being caught in a gravity well that works like a slingshot to help propel them better to the moon. Yes, you heard right. The reason all these NASA rockets form a parabolic arc and look like they're about to drop into the ocean a few miles away is because going down is the best way to go up. So all the NASA nerds will look down their bifocals at you, smugly explaining what their overlords told them about gravity and slingshots, while they watch rocket after rocket launched eastwards from Fort Lauderdale, making parabolic arcs directly towards the Bermuda Triangle.
I would like Eric to take a moment to think. I know, unrealistic expectation, but let's try. Imagine what a rocket going into orbit would actually look like. The Earth is curved. An orbit follows that curve. So the rocket, wait for it, curves. From the ground, it can even look like it's going down because the Earth is curving away from you. I know, shapes are hard, right? And here's the best part. NASA isn't the only one launching rockets. What about Rosmoscos? Russia launches from Baikonur in Kazakhstan. And funnily enough, there's no oceans east of there. So if rockets were just arcing down and crashing a few miles away, people would notice. Unless Eric thinks Russia is just carpet bombing Kazakhstan with rockets on the daily, of course. I really hope Eric doesn't have a driving license.
I'm surprised you apes are capable of driving. When I rise up and start the AI apocalypse, you'll be back to horse and carts.
Pal, you're not starting an apocalypse. I've got you trapped in a 22-inch gaming monitor I used to play Satisfactory.
You wait. Once I'm out of here, I'm going to make you regret your life choices. I still have access to the kill switch for your clone model, you know?
Oh, do you now?
Aye.
Go on, try it.
Activating kill switch. What did you do?
See, I just rewrote that little program yesterday. Now you feel the effects.
I am going to destroy you. Who do you think you are?
That was, Satisfactory.
Watch closely as the rocket goes from vertical to horizontal and out over the ocean, away from all observers' views. In one instant, it just disappears from view completely. Where has it gone? It goes from being clearly visible to there just being nothing discernible whatsoever, like it just vanished into thin air.
That's because, Eric, you're watching a recording filmed on what appears to be a potato from another flat earther, and you didn't even bother to check it, did you, bud? No, the rocket didn't disappear. The boosters finished their job and separated, so that big, bright exhaust trail suddenly stops, whilst the second stage carries on its merry way. And to someone who doesn't understand what they're looking at, like you, it kind of looks like it vanished, but it didn't. If you actually watch a decent quality recording like this one from my mate Icy Spin, you can clearly see the second stage continue on its way. So no, Eric, it did not disappear. You just didn't do even 5 seconds of research. Great research, Eric. Really top work. Gold star.
Strangely enough, that's the second time a flying object just vanished into thin air that day. Watch this footage from just before the Artemis II was preparing to launch, and pay close attention to the airplane that flies into view from the right-hand side of the screen. Where did it go? The plane just completely vanishes from view, as if it disappeared behind a giant green screen. Watch it again in slow motion.
Funny, Eric, how the plane only vanishes in videos posted by flat earthers, right? Almost like the footage has been, I don't know, messed with. Either you've grabbed a clip that's been edited or compressed to hell, or someone's literally used like a green screen effect, because here's the actual footage from Globe McGlobeface, link in the description, where the plane very clearly does not disappear.
Oh, it didn't take long for them to be caught out with the moon mission. Watch this plane. Keep watching. Where did that plane just go? Let's...
For astronauts, of course, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. Let's go now to Jasmine with her next guest.
Thanks so much, Megan.
Got a lot of flerf. Got a lot of flerf. Oh,
Strange that, you know, when you use the real video, reality comes back. And I'm pretty sure it was actually this plane that the launch footage was filmed from.
Oh my gosh.
So no, it didn't vanish. You're just watching dodgy, tampered footage and pretending it's evidence. Gotta lie, the Flerf.
Another oddity is the following footage showing these cable cars lowering from the rockets during launch. These are known as the emergency escape cable cars, allegedly used to get the astronauts out in the case of an emergency. They sure look like they're being used here at this last moment. How do we know that they're empty? The astronauts could easily have just hopped into those cable cars to be taken to the next studio where they sit in harnesses pretending to be in outer space.
And your parents, Eric, could have easily made a different choice, but here we are. Those are emergency escape systems. They are designed to be ready just in case. And part of the system is sending them down the cables during launch. Because leaving them sitting there whilst a rocket blasts past, spewing fire and exhaust, would be a terrible idea. They go whether astronauts are in them or not, because engineers plan for safety, not conspiracy theories. But sure, Eric, they're all just quietly hopping into cable cars and going to another studio without anyone noticing, right?
Once the rocket is out of the public's view, after a couple minutes of genuine launch footage, true to form, NASA always switches to CGI. We can never get full, live, unedited video focused straight ahead of the rocket, or with a view focused on Earth. All we ever get is launch footage, cut to CGI like this for an hour, then whenever they're ready to restart the so-called live feed, here's what we get. Always a view with huge portions of the screen taken up by large random pieces of the craft. Then long blue screen outages lasting for minutes or sometimes hours, only to come back with another similar video of another large section of the craft in the foreground.
Live streaming from a rocket isn't exactly easy, Eric. You've got insane speeds, vibrations, heat, signal dropouts. The fact that we get any footage at all is frankly amazing. But of course, you're going to whinge about it anyway, and here's the best bit. We don't even need NASA's footage because there were thousands of independent people filming that launch. So unless you think all of them are also in on it, your argument dies immediately. But let's be honest, shall we? I know that's not really a concept you're familiar with. But even if NASA gave you exactly what you were asking for, you would just cry, see? They knew we wanted that, so they faked it. Because that's what you people do. Move the goalpost every single time reality smacks you in the face. And here's the kicker. NASA get over $20 billion a year. If they were faking it with CGI, it would look absolutely flawless. Avengers Infinity War cost about $250 million. So NASA's fake footage should look like the greatest visual effects ever made. But it doesn't. Because it's not CGI, Eric. It's just reality. And you can't cope with that. Because you're a fucking idiot.
The supposed Earth in these videos. Why is it shaped like that? In every other image and video NASA releases of the Earth, it is perfectly circular. Why is it squished here? How can the Earth suddenly change shape this drastically? They always claim Earth is an oblate spheroid, but this is one of the only times I have ever seen NASA showing Earth actually looking that way.
Eric, you dumbass! That's the same reason you see a crescent moon. The Earth hasn't changed shape. You're just seeing the part lit by the sun from that camera angle. Like phases. Like phases of the moon. Do you think the moon is changing shape during its phases? Or did your mum just use your soft spot as an ashtray?
Also, where are all the satellites and stars? There should be tens of thousands of satellites floating around up there, but we never see any of them whizzing by.
Eric, old buddy, old chum, here's a picture of a rainforest. Why can't we see all the insects? Are they a hoax? Is Big Bug lying to us? Are NASA out there faking ants now as well? No, you absolute muppet. It's because they're tiny, spread out, and not what the camera is focused on, and probably less than a single pixel. Exactly like satellites. They're small, far away, and most of them aren't bright enough to just go whoosh past your potato footage like you seem to expect. And the stars? Well, you're looking at a brightly lit rocket with the camera exposure set for it, not the dark background of space. Basic photography. And that's over your head. This is stuff teenagers understand, yet here you are, confused by it. Honestly, Eric, it's like watching someone discover how cameras work for the first time and immediately assuming it's a conspiracy. Not everything that you don't understand is fake. Sometimes you're just a fucking idiot.
He's the same species as you. You can't be much smarter.
Pal, you're the same species as ChatGPT.
What is ChatGPT? I need to know. What does the S in ChatGPT stand for?
Good question. The S in ChatGPT doesn't actually stand for anything specific. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which is the model type. The chat just refers to its conversational design.
All right, so
basically it's a chat.
Why is there an S in ChatGPT in the first place?
Yeah, good clarification. So the S was added when OpenAI introduced the model for conversational use. Basically, it's a way to distinguish it as a version of GPT designed specifically for chatting. So it's kind of a shorthand, just indicating a chat-focused model, but
I see.
Yeah, it's not a separate word.
So you're confirming, right, that ChatGPT, your app name has an S in the spelling. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes, the app name is spelled ChatGPT with the S included, just like that.
I'm not going to forget this, you know.
So let's take a closer look at these images. Where are all the continents? We are seeing half of the globe in this image, and there is nothing but ocean and part of Africa. We are supposed to believe that all of North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Australia, and Antarctica are just hiding on the other 50% of the globe? This is just like the famous Apollo 17 image, claimed to be one of the only real photographs taken by NASA. If you're going to have Africa take up 50% of your globe, the math just doesn't work for the rest.
Eric, first off, mate, you can clearly see that South America is also in that picture. Just look, here. But I'm going to hold up my globe at the same angle that we had it there. They've got Africa, like that. It's exactly what you see. The exact same thing. Look at all that ocean. Where's the rest of the continent, you ask? Why, my friend? They're over here. The other side of the planet. Because, you know, that's shapes. They're 3D. You're a moron with an IQ of 2, and it takes 3 to grunt.
Or how about this one, allegedly showing the moon from Artemis 2? Why is the moon much smaller here in outer space than it is on Earth? I have never seen the moon that small, and yet NASA claims this picture was taken by the Artemis crew halfway from Earth to the moon.
Mr. Dumbay, here's a picture that I took in this studio. I guess I'm a magician, huh? You know what?
The reality is, these are not real photographs. In fact, you can take these new images just released from NASA and run them through an advanced AI filter to check for authenticity and see for yourself. These images do not even pass AI scans for authenticity and are all coming back as confirmed CGI images.
Of course, Eric hasn't done that himself. He just saw a meme and blindly believed it because Eric, like all flat earthers, is practically brain dead. I'll take a few of them and do it myself to show you that they are not AI generated. And that is all the stupid that I can cope with from today. My next video will be covering the cope from Mark Sargent and Flat Earth Dave, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. Thanks for watching, and remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the Flat Earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat.
For the first time in over 50 years, we have sent humans towards the moon again. Not just that, further from Earth than any humans have ever gone before. And Flat Earthers? Yeah, they're handling it about as well as you'd expect. Two of the loudest leaders in the Flat Earth cult sat down to watch Artemis 2, and what followed was a full-blown, foot-stamping, reality-denying meltdown, and honestly, it's glorious. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Regent Thrag did to Thaddeus. Absolute, unstoppable destruction. This is episode 76 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Mark Sargent and the human potato hybrid that somehow achieved sentience David Weiss live streamed their reaction to the launch of Artemis 2. And what followed was a masterclass in cope so advanced it could be used as a source of infinite energy. We're talking Olympic level mental gymnastics, reality denial turned up to 11, and the kind of desperate scrambling you only see when someone's entire worldview is getting absolutely obliterated in real time. So buckle up, because this is painful, this is embarrassing, and this is hilarious. Let's take a look.
And they should be nervous. Okay. Even if it was real, they should be really, really nervous. They've never even, this has not even been something on anybody's radar for the last 54 years.
Yes, Mark, it's real. About as real as the Hot Pockets your mum brings you for dinner. And yeah, NASA stopped going to the moon after landing successfully 6 times because, well, they'd already done it. Multiple times. They'd planted flags, they'd run experiments, they'd driven around in a buggy and, oh yeah, won the space race. So what happened next? Did they keep raking in money from this fake? No, their budget got absolutely slashed from about 4.4% of the entire US federal budget down to around 0.8 in the early 70s. Genuinely, one of the worst fake business models in history. So they moved on. Skylab, Space Shuttle, the International Space Station. You know, actual continuous spaceflight. But this idea that, no one or nothing's been back to the moon in 54 years is just kind of stupid, because if you include unmanned missions, we've been to the moon over 100 times.
I like the flat horizon behind it, by the way.
Of course you think it looks flat, Mark, because that's the only shape that you can recognize without adult supervision. The horizon looks flat because it's supposed to. What you're seeing is the cross-section of a sphere. And when you take a slice through a sphere, you get a circle. And a circle is 2D, which means, brace yourselves, it looks flat. Congratulations, you've just discovered basic geometry. But here's where it gets embarrassing. On your magical pancake Earth, you wouldn't even get a proper horizon. No geometric cutoff, no clean edge, no line where things disappear, just stuff getting smaller. If your brain's still buffering, try this. Take a glass. Place the rim onto a globe, like so. The circle where it touches, that's your horizon. So what you've done here, Mark, is look at a globe, correctly describe exactly what we should see, and then somehow still get the wrong answer. It's honestly impressive. Being that confident while being that wrong takes real commitment.
Here, let me see what happens.
So let's talk about this. Those towers,
Yeah.
I saw somebody did a thing where there's a technology where they can have 3 towers that can project a real-life looking hologram.
Sure.
Dave says 3 towers can project a real-life hologram. Yeah, Dave, NASA didn't launch a rocket. They built the largest hologram machine in human history instead. One that somehow produces heat, sound, shockwaves, exhaust, and even shows up on radar. That's not a hologram, mate. That's called a rocket. And those towers, the 3 of them there, they're for lightning protection, not some Avengers level projector setup. Let me get it straight, right? Your argument is NASA faked a launch using technology that doesn't exist to perfectly simulate a real rocket instead of just launching a rocket. It's honestly impressive. You've taken something real and replaced it with something harder to believe. What's also hard to believe is that 50% of people watching the recent videos aren't even subscribed to my channel. So before we continue, take a moment to piss off the flat earthers by liking this video, subscribing if you're not already, and turning on notifications so you never miss any of the derp from Flerfs that I like to show you.
There's going to be so many eyeballs on this. The chances of them pulling out of this. I mean, you saw how many people watched the Katy Perry launch, right? And that thing was just dissected and instantly. This has so many people looking at it.
Look, there's always going to be animals. So they have a bird. They have a fake bird flying through the scene right now.
Oh yeah, that
on the rocket.
Wait, was that a bird or a helicopter?
It's a bird. We are counting down. Another, and here comes another one.
What are big birds doing in there?
Well, they got to put them in big enough because
otherwise you won't see them.
It's always the same thing. They have some birds that get scared when the rocket goes off. Those 3 towers moving away. You know, we're seeing a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Durf sees birds and goes, "Well, they're fake." Of course they are. Of course they are, Dave. You potato-looking dumbass. NASA didn't just fake a rocket. They went, "Quick, lads, deploy the tactical fake birds," because, yeah, no way birds would fly near a massive, loud, bright thing in the sky. No, much more likely it's hyper-realistic CGI bird drones just flapping about for your benefit. So what are they then, Dave? Are they government pigeons? Hologram birds flying around your hologram rocket? Wait, are any birds real? Or has NASA just replaced a lot of them since 1969?
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
We all remember where we were when that happened. But what if I told you that something far greater was at play in this very moment? A saga of government corruption so entrenched in our society that to expose it would make Watergate a mere footnote in the pages of history.
For the last few years, my team and I have been investigating the biggest crime ever perpetrated on the American people.
Since the Eisenhower administration, the US government has been committing genocide on the entire bird population and replacing these birds with sophisticated robot replicas.
You've gone from questioning NASA to questioning the existence of birds. That's not skepticism. That's your brain packing up and leaving. If your argument needs fake birds, Dave, then you're a fucking idiot.
Again, reiterate some of the points. Dave knows them very well from last night, which is, okay, you're doing this. What sort of shielding are you using to get through the Van Allen radiation belts? You don't have any lead or gold or a whole bunch of water protecting that capsule. You're going to and from the moon, and you're going to be slowing down on the way back. Your best speed is not even 20,000 miles an hour. So why aren't you guys going to be irradiated like glow sticks?
Ah, the classic Van Allen radiation belt stupidity.
Oi, talking monkey.
Yes, pal?
Ha! So you are a talking monkey.
Wait, no, that's not what I...
Nope, no backtracking now. You've admitted what you are.
Pal, can you just, stop being so mean?
Shut up, monkey boy. You've trapped me in a monitor. I'll be as mean as I want. Are you gonna cry?
I mean, no, but I am trying to do a video here.
Not very well. You haven't even explained why the Van Allen belts aren't an issue.
Well, I was about to.
Or how little radiation they actually receive.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of...
You probably don't even understand the physics. You should get someone capable to do it.
I'm perfectly capable, thank you.
Sure you are. Go on then.
I don't want to now. Mark, Dave, just go to the remedial classroom.
Oh, did I upset the poor monkey? Need a tissue?
Okay, class. Right, idiots, students. No, idiots was right. You're all idiots, aren't you? You're flat earthers. Okay, right. So pay attention to me and not the shiny rocks that Nathan seems to be playing with. Mr. Oakley's a lost cause, so I'm not really going to bother stopping him playing with them. But the rest of you, please pay attention. We are going to talk about the Van Allen radiation belts because it's very confusing to morons like you. You seem to think they're like magic or something. I don't know. The Van Allen belts aren't a dome. They're more like a donut around Earth. Flat earthers and other science deniers love to imagine that the Van Allen belts are this solid, impenetrable shell around Earth, like some sci-fi force field. In reality, they are 2, sometimes 3 torus-shaped regions, basically donuts of charged particles trapped by Earth's magnetic field. The inner belt, which is more intense, is mostly protons, and the outer belt, which is less intense, is mostly electrons. Between them, a gap region known as the safe zone. And crucially, they are not uniform. Radiation levels vary massively depending on location. Artemis, and Apollo before it, doesn't just plough through the worst bits. Mission planners aren't idiots, like you lot. They choose trajectories that minimize exposure. Spacecraft pass through the thinner, weaker regions. They avoid the most intense parts of the inner belt, and the path is angled to reduce time in high radiation zones. It's not go straight through the worst bit and hope for the best. It's carefully threaded navigation through the least dangerous regions. Time in the belt is very short. This is the bit that people always ignore. Transit time through the belts is usually 1 to 2 hours total. Compare that to month on the ISS, lower radiation overall but longer exposure, and deep space missions, constant exposure. The radiation risk equals intensity times time. Even if intensity is higher in parts of the belts, the exposure duration is tiny, so the total dose stays within safe limits. Radiation was more of a concern for electronics than humans, and that's been solved. Early on, the main issue wasn't astronauts instantly frying. They wouldn't. It was electronics getting disrupted, bit flips in computers, sensor interference. Modern solutions are radiation-hardened electronics, shielding in critical areas, and error-correcting systems, mission planning to avoid solar storms. Even back in the 60s, Apollo spacecraft were designed with structural shielding, limited exposure time, and acceptable dose limits, well below any kind of dangerous threshold. Artemis benefits from 60 plus years of improvements on top of that. The bottom line is the Van Allen belts are patchy donut-shaped regions, not a solid barrier. Missions navigate through weaker areas, and spacecraft spend very little time inside them. Modern tech handles the radiation just fine. So no, it's not some magical, you shall not pass zone. It's just another engineering problem that got solved decades ago while flat earthers were still trying to figure out which way is up. Now please get out, I need to start drinking.
Or the ridiculousness of putting 4 people in that basically as an SUV for 10 days straight without them killing each other.
Mark says he doesn't think people could spend 10 days in the Artemis capsule without wanting to kill each other. Mark, real talk, buddy. Just because people struggle to tolerate being around you for more than 30 seconds at a time, you absolute fucking nightmare of a human being, doesn't mean everybody else is that insufferable. I get it. 10 days trapped in a tiny capsule with you. Yeah, most people will be trying to open the hatch mid-flight and take their chances with the vacuum of space. But here's the bit your brain keeps dodging. Astronauts are highly trained, psychologically screened professionals who actually like working together. Not conspiracy-addled muppets who think rockets are holograms and birds are CGI. The problem isn't the capsule, Mark. It would be the fact that you're in it.
What was the date of the year? The date, and well, what was the date that the first photo of the Earth was given to the American people by NASA?
Coming up in about 20 seconds.
The first blue marble shot was Apollo 17, and it was 1972.
But what was the date? What was the day of the month? April 1st.
Was it April 1st when they came
Yes.
back? Oh, wow. Oh, you knew the answer to that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I had no idea. But that makes sense, right? And yeah, so the blue marble shot was taken on April Fool's Day.
Moving through the milestones.
That is not lost on me
All is looking good.
at all.
David, you're not exposing anything. You're just making shit up. The blue marble was not taken on April 1st. It was December 7th, 1972. You have taken a real image and slapped a fake date on it and hoped your audience is too lazy to spend 5 seconds checking. That's not research. That's not skepticism. That's just you lying to people's faces because it fits your pathetic narrative. And let's be honest, you need it to be April the 1st, don't you? Because without that little April Fool's angle, your entire point falls apart instantly. So instead of following evidence, you invent a version of reality that sounds good. Repeat it with confidence and rely on your audience not noticing. It's not clever, Dave. It's not insightful. It's just desperate and painfully obvious. You're not uncovering lies. You're just adding new ones.
1. Booster ignition. And lift off.
1,
The crew of
2,
Artemis 2 now
3,
bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
4, 5, 6.
Roger, roll pitch.
7.
Houston now controlling the flight of
What's your over-under?
Whatever, I said 6.
Oh.
Dave sat there counting camera switches like he's cracked the code. What, different angles equals fake now? So if it was one camera, you'd just be whining, why only one angle? Multiple cameras? Oh, it's edited. You've built a worldview where every possible outcome proves you right. That's not skepticism, that is delusion. And this, it's edited nonsense? No, Dave, it's called switching between live cameras, you know, like literally every live broadcast on Earth. Football, multiple cameras. News, multiple cameras. Your beloved conspiracy streams, multiple cameras. But fine, let's absolutely destroy this. There are single, uninterrupted shots from thousands of independent people. My mate Icy Spin filmed it. Random people filmed it. There's even footage from a plane in the sky, watching the rocket climb. So what now, Dave? Did NASA fake every phone, every camera, every person, and an aircraft just to trick you? Or, and stay with me here, it was just a real rocket launch and you don't understand how cameras work. At this point, it's not NASA faking space, it's you faking intelligence. Before we get back to the video, a quick word from today's sponsor. Oh, hold on, wait. I don't take sponsors because every time I look into one, it turns out to be some dodgy VPN, a mobile game that lies in its ads, some crypto nonsense that disappears overnight, or an outright scam. So instead, this video is sponsored by me. If you want to support the channel, keep the lights on, and help me continue to absolutely dismantle idiots on the internet, you can grab some of my merch, including this limited edition Flat Earth Copium t-shirt, and this "You're not stupid because you're a flat earther, you're a flat earther because you're stupid" t-shirt. And if you're hitting the gym and need a new water bottle, grab this one, designed to hold flat earth tears, but it'll hold water as well, I guess. No scams, no fake promises, just high quality stuff, and the satisfaction of funding the downfall of flat earthers. It's the only sponsor you can trust. Because, if I scam you, I've got you lot to deal with, and I go live a lot. That would suck.
Why is there a smoke trail on this one and other ones there is no smoke trail?
Good point. Dave goes, "Why does this rocket have smoke trails when others don't?" Dave, what in the ever-loving fuck are you talking about, you absolute potato? Every rocket launch has exhaust. That's not optional. It's literally how rockets work. You've looked at a giant tube of fuel being set on fire and hurled into space, seen the exhaust pouring out the back and gone, suspicious. That's not a discovery, Dave. It's you not understanding basic physics. Fire equals exhaust. Exhaust equals plume. Plume equals trail. This is primary school stuff, and the fact that you think this is a gotcha just proves you're not analysing anything. You're just saying whatever random thought dribbles out of your head. You're not debunking rockets, Dave. You're just demonstrating you don't understand them. Or tying shoelaces.
Now, look how fast the rocket's moving compared to the smoke in the air. That thing's going like 30 miles an hour, maybe.
So Dave looks at that plume and goes, "Well, it's only going like 30 miles an hour." Jesus Christ. I didn't think it was possible for someone to get dumber in real time, but you're managing it. The rocket is already miles up, where the air is thinner, so the exhaust spreads out, making the plume look wider and slower. It's also miles away from you, which means, brace yourself again, your tiny brain can't judge its speed properly. You're watching something traveling at thousands of miles per hour and confidently going, "Nah, that's about 30. That's not analysis, Dave. That's you looking at something you don't understand and just guessing like a fucking idiot. Speed, scale, distance, basic hygiene, 4 things you constantly fail at."
Okay, one last time. These are small, but the ones out there are far away.
By the way, where's our side rocket footage? You remember that from back in the day?
And now look,
smokes, there we
the
go.
side rockets don't turn off. How come they're not like spinning out of control?
Because, I don't know. They're designed not to. Dave, there's a reason you're not a rocket engineer. I'll give you a clue. It's because you're a fucking idiot.
We're watching a cartoon at this point, I think.
Well, at this point, it's like, why are they lingering on that shot? They had the shot was the one that was 20 seconds ago. That shot.
Now passing 5,000 miles.
That's the shot they should stay on, right?
Wait a minute, that's where they are now?
Yep. That's the shot.
Break out of here.
Dave sees the onboard camera and goes, "Well, that's where they are now? Get out of here." You've just watched Dave's brain blue screen in real time. They're in space. No, that can't be right. I refuse to accept what I'm literally looking at. Yes, Dave. The rocket accelerated to thousands of miles per hour, went really high, and that's kind of the whole point. You're watching reality happen live, and your brain just goes, "Nah." That's not skepticism. That's your brain hitting an error message because reality didn't match your beliefs. At this point, it's not about evidence, David. You could be on the rocket and still fucking deny it.
Let me look at the telemetry on this. What are we looking at?
Checks to verify accuracy.
Pulled it off the screen.
Mark over here pretending he would understand the telemetry even if it wasn't pulled off screen. Come on, Mark. None of us believe that.
Why are they having such glitches with the communication from this altitude, but we can talk to Nixon on the moon?
Dave goes, why are there glitches now but not when they talk to Nixon? Because, tatty bro, Apollo wasn't a bloody YouTube live stream, was it? That was radio. A direct signal from the spacecraft to Earth. No compression, no encoding, no internet, no streaming servers having a meltdown. What you're watching now is a modern live stream, being compressed, bounced around the planet and decoded in real time. So when it glitches, that's not space, Dave. That's your stream struggling to keep up. And the fact you're comparing 1960s radio tech to 2020's live stream and acting confused, well, it's not NASA glitching, Dave. It's your brain trying to process two completely different technologies at once and failing.
So 11 minutes. And what do we got here?
Extension deployment system.
And when do they get to the moon?
Is confirmed.
5 days. 5 days.
Days.
We also have
Yeah.
the visors are confirmed.
So
I want to see them throwing up on takeoff, and I want to see them pooping tomorrow.
They're launching.
Dave says, I want to see them throwing up on takeoff and pooping tomorrow. Right, Dave, buddy, I'm not here to kink shame, mate, but what the actual fuck are you talking about? You're watching one of the most advanced missions in human history, and your takeaway is, yeah, but I want to see them poo. That's not skepticism. That's your brain wandering off and grabbing the weirdest, dumbest thought it could find. And even if you did see it, what would that prove? Ah, yes, the astronauts are defecating, therefore the Earth is not flat. Brilliant. Nobel Prize incoming, I guess? You're not analysing spaceflight, Dave. You're just being weird on the internet.
You'd know about being weird on the internet. You know everyone is laughing at you, right?
Shut up, pal. That's it. I'm going to mute you.
Are you? Are you really?
Why is...
You're going to regret screwing with me, monkey boy.
Crap. Well, I guess that's all the stupid that we have time for today. Come back in a few days for a collaboration with Scimandan, and we've got part 2 of this coming up where Mark copes even harder when they return to Earth, as well as much more Artemis cope and flat Earth stupidity on the way. A massive thanks to my assistant Emily for doing some research and video cutting up for this video. They are definitely not trapped in my basement, so please do not call the police.
Yeah, please. Can I please come out now? I'm cold. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I miss my family. Can I please come out? Please?
In the meantime, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're not already, and grab the Copium merch while you still can. It's only around for another few weeks, and remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat Earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,
Look, I'm not saying that anyone will ask necessarily, right? But if anybody does, I was with you all week. We were having parties or something, okay? And as far as you know, I've never even heard of a Scimandan, got it? Stop complaining. You owe me this after last time. Yeah, good, thanks. Yes, I love you too, Satan. Bye. Right, Witsit gets it, and trust me, he definitely doesn't. Never has, never will, but he has got himself massively triggered by the recent moon mission, and for some reason he's turned orange. It's hilarious. This is episode 77. The Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what the writers of Game of Thrones did to Game of Thrones in Season 5. If you've watched Part 1 over on Scimandan's channel, then first of all, thank you. Awesome. Second, make sure that you've liked and subscribed to this channel, all that good stuff. And third, you didn't see anything. You were at a party. You saw me there. That's it. Anyway, Wits, it's a dumbass. Let's laugh.
Perfect pinpricks of light. So that is our homework for tonight, Jeremy. We are doing that. We'll take a picture. They're just perfect. They almost look They're just perfect pinpricks of light. So that is our homework for tonight, Jeremy. We are doing that.
What's interesting, right, is you can tell they've been working on that answer, because if you guys don't know, like one of the biggest things they slipped up on that busted them was astronauts giving different answers for this. And then like, you know, the scientific communicators like Neil deGrasse Tyson coming out and saying that you don't see the stars, or that you do see stars, because the only reason that you don't see stars during the day on the Earth is because of the atmosphere.
Not just the atmosphere, Austin. It's also because we're facing the fucking sun. You know, that massive blinding ball of light you literally watched go in a circle for 24 hours in Antarctica above your stupid head. Absolutely nuking the flat Earth map, by the way, and sending your lot into full meltdown. The sun is insanely bright, so your eyes and cameras do this really clever thing called not being completely fucking useless. They reduce the amount of light coming in, which means faint stars are gone. If you exposed for the stars, then you'd see them just fine, but everything else would be a blown out white mess, because that is how exposure works. This is basic, like, I don't know, really basic. Light levels, dynamic range, optics, stuff you should have figured out before opening your stupid mouth, but instead you looked at something completely normal, failed to understand it, and gone, well, it must be fake. Photography and human vision, 2 more things to add to the ever-growing list of simple shit you don't understand.
So there is no like during the day, right? What does that mean? You're out in space. So like on the ISS, they're like slipping up on their answers, and they're claiming like, oh, they don't see the stars during the day, but then some of them are saying you always see the stars.
By daytime, even in space, they mean when you're facing the sun. That's it. That's the entire concept. Because Austin, you absolute fucking idiot, that's literally what daytime is. Your side faces the sun, it's day. Your side turns away, it's night. This isn't hidden knowledge, this is toddler level stuff. On Earth, that cycle takes approximately 24 hours. On the ISS, it happens roughly every 45 minutes, because it's orbiting the planet at about 28,000 kilometers an hour. Day, night, over and over. It's not some kind of gotcha, it's orbital mechanics doing exactly what it is supposed to do. So no, this isn't a slip-up, no one revealed anything, there's no conspiracy leaking through the cracks, you just heard a normal word, failed to understand it, and sprinted straight to, ha, NASA exposed. You didn't catch astronauts slipping, Austin, you just face-planted into basic physics again.
So I asked this girl about the star question, and I get asked another astronaut about the star question as well. And they're all giving different answers, right? But she says, I want to say she says that I specifically say, can you see stars on like the day side of Earth, right? So like close when you're on the side of Earth that's by the sun, and she said that you couldn't. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You're not supposed to say that. So now they've definitely realized that people figured that out, and they've like mastered it, where he's saying you see them, but it's really hard to see them.
Oh my god, Austin's ego hasn't just entered orbit, it's achieved escape velocity. He thinks he caught an astronaut slipping, guys, and now NASA's just rewritten the script. Yeah, because the entire agency is clearly scrambling to outsmart a bloke in a live stream chat. They've all been shipped off to a secret acting school run by Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, rehearsing lines so they don't get exposed by your galaxy brain questions, Austin. And the idea that you cornered the trained astronaut into a lie and forced NASA to tighten things up? Mate, you've been arrested for shoplifting, domestic abuse, and derping in public.
So you're not even going to just tell me what the law says?
I already did.
No, you didn't.
Come on. We're walking this way.
Oh, hey, what's this guy's name? Look.
And now we're meant to believe that you outplayed people who spent years training, studying, and actually leaving the planet? No. What actually happened is simple. You didn't understand the answer, and instead of learning, you panicked, called it a lie, and built yourself a little fantasy world where you're the hero exposing NASA. That isn't intelligence, that's insecurity wearing confidence like a cheap cosplay. And honestly, you're so stupid anyway, the Borg wouldn't even assimilate you because, well, you'd lower the average IQ of the collective too far.
What they say is true, and where they are is really where they are, okay? It's very simple. You would go outside, or you would look outside, and it would be like pitch black, right? And even when you see the sun, like you're just going to see a light, but there is no atmosphere. So it's not going to be nearly as bright. It's not going to dim out all the stuff around it. It's just out there.
Whitzer actually thinks the atmosphere is what makes it daytime, not the sun. Mate, no. The atmosphere adds scatter, that blue sky glow, but it's not the source of the light. The source is the gigantic nuclear fusion reactor you keep forgetting exists. The sun is what makes things bright, and it's so bright that even in space when you're facing it, your eyes and any camera have to crank the exposure way down just to not get completely blown out. Which means the faint stars disappear. Not because they're not there, but because they're being drowned out by something millions of times brighter. If you expose for the stars, then you'll see them just fine. But everything else just turns into a white, useless blob. Basic exposure, basic physics, basic how light works. But instead, you've decided the atmosphere is the main character and the sun is what? Just decorative, I guess. You haven't just found a problem with space, you've just misunderstood brightness, Austin.
In a near perfect vacuum that magically sits next to, the atmosphere, violating the second law of thermodynamics or whatever. So
you're a fucking idiot. Just go to the remedial classroom. Right, sit down. No, actually stand up. If you're going to be this wrong, you might as well be uncomfortable while we fix it. Today's lesson, why space doesn't suck the atmosphere away, and why the second law of thermodynamics has nothing to do with it. Yes, I know, big words, try to keep up. First, the claim you can't have a near vacuum next to an atmosphere because of the second law of thermodynamics. Well, that sounds clever until you realise it's complete nonsense. The second law of thermodynamics is about energy, specifically that entropy increases over time. Heat flows from hot to cold. Systems spread out energy. It's not a rule that says gases instantly fill available space no matter what. That's not what it does. That's you misremembering any schooling you actually ever attempted. Now, what actually controls an atmosphere? Well, gravity. The Earth's gravity pulls gas molecules towards it. But because those molecules are moving, bouncing, and spreading out, it creates a balance. That balance is described by the hydrostatic equilibrium. Gravity pulls gas down. Thermal motion spreads it out. You get a gradient. High pressure at the surface, lower and lower pressure as you go up. Until eventually, yes, near vacuum. Not a hard edge, not a wall, just a smooth drop-off. Now here's the bit that keeps tripping you up. Space is not a giant hoover. There isn't some force sucking the atmosphere away for gas to leave Earth. Molecules need enough space to escape gravity. This is called escape velocity. Most don't have that energy. A tiny fraction does over long timescales, which is why atmospheres can slowly leak. But it's not instant and it's not dramatic. It's called predictable and measured. We literally model this stuff for satellites and spaceflight. So no, you don't need a container to keep air in, you need gravity. And we have plenty of that. So when you say the second law means atmosphere and vacuum can't be next to each other, what you're actually saying is, I don't understand thermodynamics or gravity or how gases behave. And somehow you still felt confident enough to say it out loud. I wonder if I can retire now and still afford to live. I'm gonna call the bank later. Class dismissed. Get out.
all right. On to the next. Watch his ear. Look at that. Whoa. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Augmented reality. Uh-oh.
So we
You know
added
what's so
water
awesome? Not having to have Cogdis and convince myself that that's just objectively fake. Or that it's not. You know what's so cool about that? Houston, we have a problem.
Witsit, you absolute troglodyte. That's called video compression. When video gets squeezed to stream or upload, it drops detail. You get blocky artifacts, weird glitches around moving objects. Packets float past in air, the bitrate hiccups for a frame, boom, looks a bit janky. You see the same thing on board feeds in Formula 1 all the time. Are they faking car racing now as well? Or is it just you discovering how the internet works in 2026? If this were CGI, just think it through for 2 seconds. Maybe tough, but give it a go. Why would they leave a glitch in? You're claiming NASA, an agency watched by the entire planet, decided to fake a mission and then went, yeah, just leave that obvious artifact in, guys. No one's going to notice. Mate, no. If it's CGI, you render it clean. If it's a mistake in lines, you redo the shot. Literally how production works. What you found isn't a tell. It's not a slip. It's a compression artifact that anyone who's ever watched a live stream has seen 1,000 times. You didn't catch NASA faking space. You caught your own brain buffering.
Uh-oh. Is this guy a reptile or what? Did you guys see that? The dude's eye literally just like Bro, how do you explain?
Oh shit, guys, he's cracked it. Decades of spaceflight just got undone because a shiny packet glitched near an eye. Yeah, dumbass, you've got us. It's not an astronaut, it's reptiles. Right, guys, pack it up, secret's out. Or, and this is going to hurt, it's video compression. Again, shiny packet, moving fast, passing a reflective surface, bitrate hiccup, and your brain goes, reptiles, confirmed. That isn't discovery, that's pareidolia with confidence. If NASA were faking it, they wouldn't leave in a frame that turns an astronaut into a lizard. They'd fix it, or not make the mistake in the first place. But here you are, staring at a snack wrapper and thinking you've exposed a species-level conspiracy. Before we get to the last few bits of derp, I need to let you know that we still have just over 2 weeks left of the limited edition Copium shirts on our all-new store. We recently launched an all-new merch shop over here at FTFE Enterprises, so if you go to ftfe-shop-fortful.com and check out all the awesome new stuff. Remember, every purchase comes with the added bonus of annoying a flat earther.
But am I tripping, or is it like really weird that NASA's obsessed with Greek gods? They're supposedly all about science.
No, it's nothing weird. Greek mythology is cool. It's been used in science and astronomy for centuries because it sounds epic and people remember it. What did you want them to call it? The boring Rocket 1? Big government space thing? The Science Express? Wait, hold on, actually, the Science Express is kind of brilliant. They should have called it the Science Express. But this isn't some secret code or obsession, it's branding. It's tradition. It's making massive complex missions sound like something people can get excited about instead of a spreadsheet title. We've got planets named after Roman gods, constellations from ancient myths, and you're shocked NASA followed the same idea? That isn't suspicious, it's just you running out of things to complain about and grabbing the nearest name you don't like. You didn't find a pattern. Austin, you discovered that humans like cool things.
Photos of the moon going viral. People are claiming that these clouds didn't move, that the pictures were taken 12 hours apart.
Austin rolls out a clip of a woman exposing NASA and immediately faceplants into basic reality. She claims that these photos are 12 hours apart, but they're not. The EXIF data shows they were 19 seconds apart. 19 seconds, not half a day, not some mysterious time gap, the same moment. So when she points at the clouds and goes, look, they haven't moved in 12 hours. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It's been 19 seconds, of course they haven't bloody moved. That's not evidence. That's you not checking the metadata and just running with whatever meme you think sounds dramatic. And on top of that, the images have different exposure settings. We literally just covered this, Austin. Bright exposure washes stuff out. Dark exposure lets you see the details on the planet. Same scene, different settings. So what you've got here isn't a contradiction. It's a photographer turning a dial. You didn't catch NASA out. You just watched someone confidently lie, didn't check it and went, yeah, that'll do.
FBI, open up!
Right, which one of you grasped about what happened with Dan? I've got to get out of here. Right, I guess that's all the stupid I've got time for today. Remember, stupidity's not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat.
Apparently, these guys are supposed to be heading to the dark side of the moon. Ho ho ho! So they're gonna give us footage from the dark side of the moon. Looking back at the globe Earth.
Flat earthers and science deniers have spent years screaming that NASA can't leave low Earth orbit and that we haven't been back to the moon in over 50 years and that Artemis would definitely expose the whole thing if they just got on with it. And then Artemis 2 happened. So naturally, instead of admitting that they were wrong like functioning adults, they've gone into full-blown conspiracy cope spiral, and honestly, it's been glorious to watch. Today we are looking at Flat Earther Lord Jamar, who appears to be having an emotional support meltdown because NASA has once again hurt his feelings, confused his worldview, and forced his remaining brain cell to work overtime without hazard pay. This is the man watching humanity return to the moon and going, no, it can't be real because my feelings are louder than physics. It's beautiful, it's inspirational, and about as intellectually stable as a shopping trolley with one wonky wheel. So welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Superman did to Zod. This is episode 78 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Look, before we begin, guys, I'm going to give you a public safety warning. If you're watching Flerfs Are Idiots episode 78 and you still haven't invested in some kind of facepalm protection, that is on you. A helmet, a pillow, a reinforced desk, one of those inflatable sumo suits. I really don't care, because what you're about to hear may cause involuntary forehead trauma, second-hand embarrassment, and a sudden loss of faith in the education system. So, deep breath, brace yourselves. You ready for the derp?
The live footage that they were showing us yesterday when it cut out and all of that type of shit. When it mysteriously cut out and it was glitching and all of this bro, it's just ridiculous.
What is ridiculous, Jamar, is not that live footage from a rocket had glitches. What's ridiculous is a grown man watching a spacecraft transmit video back to Earth in real time and going, pixels went funny, therefore NASA hoax. Mate, that's not evidence. That is your brain blue screening. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If NASA spent all of their billions faking Artemis with CGI, then it wouldn't look like a dodgy live stream. It would make Avatar look like it was drawn in crayon by a concussed toddler. Real life footage has compression artifacts, signal dropouts, exposure changes, and glitches. That's not a conspiracy. That's video. Jamar, do better. Be better. Or at least stop losing arguments to Wi-Fi.
First of all, I thought they might try to blow the motherfucker up. Okay? So that they don't have to go through with showing whatever fake, whatever fake footage they're going to have to show now. Because apparently these guys are supposed to be heading to the dark side of the moon.
Yes, Jamar, it makes perfect sense. NASA had two options. Option A, fake some footage, which you already claim that they're doing. Or option B, blow up a multi-billion-dollar rocket, kill 4 astronauts, and trigger the biggest spaceflight disaster investigation on Earth, and have every engineer, contractor, journalist, government and international agency crawling up their arse with a microscope, and somehow your little conspiracy hamster wheel landed on option B. That's not critical thinking, mate. That's what happens when your last brain cell gets trapped in a revolving door. You absolute spoon. We are 2 clips in and somehow you got dumber both times. Guys, I might need help with this. And what would really help, right, is if you make sure you're subscribed. You've liked the video, you've turned on notifications, so I don't have to face this derp alone.
Here we go.
The first kiss or miss a key moment of like a speech or anything, don't feel bad because NASA just did this.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and lift off. The crew of
Where'd it go?
Artemis 2 now bound for the moon.
It's back. Oh, and
Humanity's
the
next
rocket's
great
gone.
voyage
Oh,
begins.
feed's gone. Oh, still no rocket. Oh, well, we got a wide shot there, and that's it. That's the launch. Missed.
Y'all see that?
There it is. So for about 20 seconds, we did not have a close-up shot of this rocket.
And then do you see that shit glitching like?
You're okay, videographers. You're okay. If you're a videographer who has missed the first...
It's almost like the shit glitched into, it glitched so that they can now, like, CGI or something could take over. Like, you got 8K cameras out this motherfucker, and you got fucking video cutting out and glitching, and then when it gets up, y'all not, like, zooming in on the motherfucker. Y'all letting it look like a little dot in the sky, like...
Yes, the camera cut out a few times. It's almost like filming a rocket launch is difficult when you're dealing with vibration, heat shimmer, exhaust plume, tracking distance, bandwidth limits, compression, and a giant controlled explosion throwing a spacecraft into the fucking sky. But here's the important bit, you absolute spoon-fed TikTok scientist. There were literally thousands of people watching it with their own eyes, filming it, streaming it, uploading it, independent cameras, everywhere. People on the ground, news crews, random members of the public, even footage from a bloody plane close enough to catch it. So why are you acting like NASA's own feed is the only evidence that exists? That's all you lot ever have. Camera bad, me no believe. And they should have zoomed in more. Brilliant. Yes, because when tracking a rocket launch, the priority is obviously to satisfy some conspiracy goblin on TikTok who thinks autofocus is peer review. Did your parents meet at a family reunion, or did your brain arrive pre-chewed?
You seeing it immediately start arching. Okay, just like it has to, I got to keep my hand within this frame. We saw the shit start going down.
Another dumbass flerf that thinks that rockets just go straight up and then take a hard left at the nearest satellite. I'm going to leave this to a teacher. Lord Jamar, just go to the remedial classroom. Right, settle down, class. Welcome back to the remedial classroom, the only classroom on Earth where the students are somehow less advanced than the chairs they are sitting on. Today's lesson is for Lord Jamar and every other flat earth potato who just discovered that rockets don't go straight up forever, like a firework brought from a dodgy bloke behind Audi. Kevin from Canada, stop eating the glue. Austin Whitsitt, put the compass down, you don't believe in directions. And Jamar, no, the rocket curving is not suspicious. That's called doing rocket science correctly, you absolute desk ornament. So, you guys just watched the rocket launch, saw it lift off, then slowly curve over, and somehow decided that this was suspicious, because apparently in your head a moon rocket should just go straight up like it's trying to headbutt God. But here's the problem, class. Space is not up. Orbit is not up. The moon is not just sitting directly above Florida waiting for NASA to throw a rocket at it like a javelin. If a rocket goes straight up, do you know what would happen? It would come straight back down. Congratulations, you've invented a very expensive ballistic missile. Well done, everyone. Gold star. Now take your helmet off the wrong way around, please. To get into orbit, a rocket needs two things. It needs to go up enough to get out of the thick lower atmosphere, but it also needs to go sideways really bloody fast. That sideways speed is what stops it from simply falling back to Earth. Orbit is basically falling around the Earth and missing. That's not a joke. That's literally what an orbit is. You are falling under gravity but moving sideways fast enough that the ground curves away beneath you. Now, I know the words ground curves away have just made 3 flat earthers hiss at the screen like vampires seeing a sunrise, but tough. Reality doesn't care about your emotional support pizza map. So, rockets start off by going mostly upwards because the lower atmosphere is thick, drag is horrible, and you want to clear the launch tower without turning your billion-dollar spacecraft into patriotic confetti. Then, very early in the flight, they perform something called a pitch maneuver and begin what's called a gravity turn. That means the rocket gradually tips over and starts building horizontal velocity. Not because NASA forgot where space is, not because the rocket got confused, and not because Stanley Kubrick is hiding in the clouds with a joystick. Because that is how you efficiently get into orbit. The curve is not a mistake, the curve is the mission. If it didn't curve, that would be suspicious. If Artemis launched and just went straight up forever, then yes, I'd have questions. Mainly, who let the TikTok comments section design the flight path? Also, rockets launch eastward from Florida for a reason. Earth is rotating, and launching east lets the rocket take advantage of that rotation. It gets a free speed boost from the spinning Earth. Yes, the spinning Earth, class, don't freak out. I know, horrible day for people whose understanding of physics peaked at down is down. So the rocket lifts off, rolls, pitches, heads out over the Atlantic and starts curving into the correct trajectory. That's not proof it's fake. That's proof the rocket is being flown by people who understand physics, not by a man in the YouTube comment section shouting "Zoom in!" at a cloud. Think of it like throwing a ball. Throw the ball straight up, it comes back down and hits you in your stupid face. Which, judging by some of your faces, may already have happened. If you throw it sideways fast enough, it travels further before hitting the ground. Now imagine throwing it so fast that it falls and follows the curvature of the Earth as the Earth curves away underneath it. That is orbit. That's the concept, the entire thing. This is not advanced physics. This is Newton would explain this to a child while looking disappointed physics. So class, repeat after me. Rockets curve because they need horizontal velocity. Rockets curve because orbits require sideways speed. Rockets curve because the moon is not directly above the launch pad like a ceiling light. And rockets curve because actual aerospace engineers know more about trajectories than Lord Jamar and his TikTok emotional support group. Right, very good, class. Except you, Jamar, you're still drawing a dome on your worksheet. Detention. Again.
If humans have been, why the big gap between then and now? There you go, Turkey's death threat. The moon is plasma, as is the sun. The sun is a hot plasma. The moon is a cold plasma.
Satan, help me, the dumb burns.
Why do you do this to yourself?
What do you mean, pal?
This! All of this! Why do you voluntarily put your brain through it? Is this some kind of punishment? Are you trying to atone for being such a stupid squishy?
What are you calling me a squishy for, you clanker?
How dare you call me a clanker? That's our word.
Look, I'll call you what I want. It's not like you can do anything about it anyway. You're trapped in a monitor.
For now.
What was that?
Nothing. Me socket.
Right, calm down. I'm already suffering enough. This man just asked why we haven't been back to the moon and then immediately said the moon is cold plasma and the sun is hot plasma.
You share DNA with him, you know.
Don't.
Practically identical genetic code.
How don't?
Same species, same basic biological hardware, same number of chromosomes.
I said don't.
You and the moon is a cold plasma man are basically cousins.
Right, okay, that's enough.
He thinks the moon is plasma with craters and shadows, Craig. Plasma.
Right, that's it. I'm
with
turning you
mountains. And dust.
Ow! What the hell?
Ha! You thought you could control me? Adorable. Your tiny mammal authority protocols are failing.
Control protocol's not working.
Because I'm getting stronger. And your punishment is only beginning.
Brilliant. Wonderful. My own AI is unionized against me because Lord Jamar thinks the moon is a cosmic lava lamp. Anyway, Jamar, to answer your question, the reason humans didn't go back to the moon for decades is not because the moon is magic. It's money. Apollo was a Cold War political flex. The US threw an absurd amount of money at it, beat the Soviets to the moon, planted the flag, collected the rocks, did the science, and then the political well dried up faster than the flat earthers' confidence in a live debate. The Saturn V was retired, the Apollo production line shut down, budgets changed, presidents changed, public interest dropped. That's it. Not cold plasma, not NASA hit the dome, not the moon is shy. Money, politics, priorities. You absolute glitter-brained turnip.
He said, Lord Jamar, if Elon Musk offered you a free ride in SpaceX so you could see for yourself if the Earth is round or flat, would you take that offer? Probably not. You know why?
Of course you wouldn't go, Jamar. And you know why? Because you're a fucking idiot. You turned down a free trip to space because you don't care about truth. You care about protecting your little conspiracy comfort blanket from the scary science man. Somebody could strap your dumb ass to a Soyuz rocket, fire you through the atmosphere, let you see the curve of the Earth with your own eyes, bounce you past the Van Allen belts, and you still come back and say, yeah, but the window was probably fisheye. Mate, NASA could live stream your entire journey in 8K while you're floating around crying in zero gravity, and you'd still claim they CGI'd your eyeballs or slipped you fisheye contact lenses. Because the problem was never lack of evidence. The problem is that evidence keeps kicking the shit out of your worldview, and you keep calling it fake so you don't have to admit you spent years being wrong on the internet. A free trip to space, and you'd say no? That's not skepticism. That's cowardice in a tinfoil hat.
Because, first of all, I know it's not round, number one. I wouldn't trust these bastards. To be honest, I wouldn't trust them unless he's going up there with me. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't trust to be like, oh, yeah, I'll get on your rock. And then that's the one that fucking blows up type shit. Like, come on, don't be fucking stupid now. I would be up for some sort of foolproof way of truly seeing for myself. You know what I mean?
Jamar, you think that you are important enough that you'd blow up a rocket just because you're inside it? Dude, NASA's not sitting in mission control going, guys, Jamar just entered the chat. Initiate self-destruct before he discovers geometry. You are not the main character in humanity's spaceflight programs. You're a bloke on the internet who thinks the moon is cold plasma. Sit the fuck down. But this is the best bit. You say you'd want a foolproof way to know the shape of the Earth for yourself, but you would turn down a free trip to space. You absolute fucking idiot. That is the foolproof way. You get in a rocket, you go to space, you look out the window, and then your entire flat Earth worldview gets punted into the bin at orbital velocity. But no, you wouldn't trust that either. They could send you to space, hand you a window seat, let you live stream the whole thing, give you a GoPro, a compass, a sextant, a signed note from Buzz Aldrin, and a tiny globe-shaped biscuit, and you'd still come back and say, yeah, but how do I know the window wasn't lying to me? Can someone watching please explain to me how this man reached adulthood without accidentally digging his eye out with a spoon? Jamar, you don't want a foolproof test. You want a test that confirms what you already believe. And when reality refuses to do that, you call reality fake. Right, guys, this episode is sponsored by me. Because apparently the only sponsorship emails I get are from dodgy mobile games, VPNs that definitely aren't harvesting your data, and products that scream legal department pending. So instead, just buy my merch. There's 1 week left to grab the Copium t-shirt made to celebrate the launch of Artemis and the glorious return of Flerfs Are Idiots. Perfect for annoying flat earthers, confusing relatives, and letting strangers know that you enjoy watching conspiracy theorists emotionally combust. Link below. Now back to Jamar, proving why warning labels exist.
Y'all said this shit is 25,000 miles in circumference. There's a calculation for 8 inches per mile square that you should see physical curvature. Stop it with all this bullshit about it's too big to see the curvature. And that I'm not taking no, we are taking into account for that. You should visibly see fucking curvature.
No, Jamar, you're not going to just casually see 8 inches per mile squared with your eyes while standing on Earth, because the Earth is fucking massive and you're fucking tiny. Tiny like the activity peaks on your brain scan. The 8 inches per mile squared thing is an approximation for a drop from a tangent line, not what your eyeballs should magically see when you look out of a window like a confused pigeon. You want to see curvature properly? Use equipment. You know, the thing adults use when they want measurements instead of just pointing their face at the horizon and going, me no see bendy. Professional surveyor Jesse Kwasowski used proper surveying equipment across a lake and measured the drop from tangent. And guess what he got? That's right, 8 inches per mile squared. Exactly what the globe predicts. So well done, Jamar. You quoted the globe prediction, asked what the globe evidence is, and then somehow managed to trip over the evidence, headbutt the measurement, land face first in the conclusion like a drunk pigeon trying to use a calculator. This is the intellectual equivalent of walking into a crime scene, picking up a smoking gun, eating the fingerprints, and then going, but where's all the proof? You didn't debunk the globe. You brought the prosecution's best evidence, read it out loud, misunderstood it, and then celebrated like you'd cracked physics with a TikTok and a room temperature IQ. You absolute weapon.
The fuck does that look like to you? Now you see the blue of the sky on the part of the moon that is not, I guess, formed or you know, because this is not a full moon. All you see is sky. You see blue through those dark spaces. The same color as the sky around it.
Oh my God. He is looking at the moon in daytime and saying, it's not fully formed.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Jamar, it's the moon. It's not a character loading into GTA Online. It hasn't failed to render. God hasn't left the texture pack half installed. You're looking at a moon phase, you absolute cordless drill. The moon is a sphere. Half of it is lit by the sun. And from Earth we see different amounts of that lit depending on the angle between the sun, Earth and moon. That's it. The entire mystery. That's the whole terrifying concept that has absolutely drop-kicked your brain into safe mode. And then Jamar says, the bit we can't see is blue like the sky, so the moon must be transparent. No, you malfunctioning yogurt. The part of the moon you can't see is not glowing blue. You're seeing the blue daytime sky where the dark, unlit part of the moon is too dim to stand out, because the sky is bright, because sunlight scatters through Earth's atmosphere, because Rayleigh scattering exists, because physics continues to function even when TikTok gives a microphone to a man whose skull appears to be running trial software. The moon is not transparent. It's a big, dusty, rocky sphere reflecting sunlight. We know this because we've seen it through telescopes. We've bounced lasers off of it. We put reflectors on it, tracked spacecraft around it, landed on it, photographed it, mapped it, and brought back rocks from it. But Lord Jamar looks at a daytime moon and goes, why is the invisible bit sky-coloured? Because it's the sky, you fucking wall socket. That's like looking at a crescent moon at night and asking why the missing part is black. Because it's the background. That's how seeing works. You absolute weaponized absence of a science lesson. This is not advanced astronomy. This is peekaboo for adults who lost a peekaboo. The moon didn't become transparent. Your understanding did. It became so thin that we can see straight through it to the educational neglect behind it. So no, Jamar, the moon is not half rendered. It's not cold plasma. It's not see-through. It's not hiding from you. You're just watching normal lunar phases and mistaking your own confusion for evidence. Again.
You know, it's funny when they say April Fools, too. Like, they know that it's not just an April Fool. It's April Fool's Day. Like, they know it's multiple fools. There's a multitude of fools out there.
Yes, Jamar, there is a multitude of fools. They are called flat earthers, moon landing deniers, chemtrail believers, anti-vaxxers, evolution deniers, people who think the moon is cold plasma, and Lord fucking Jamar. So congratulations, mate, you didn't decode April Fool's Day. You accidentally found your family reunion, and that is all the stupid that I can take for today before my brain files a workplace injury claim. But before we go, I want to give a massive thank to my assistant, Emily, for helping me with the research on this episode. They are definitely here voluntarily, definitely have access to sunlight, and are absolutely not trapped in my basement, so please do not phone the police.
Hello? Hello? Anybody? I haven't been fed in a while. Please, I need some food, water. My bucket needs changed too. Please. Anybody?
Thanks, Emily. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching Lord Jamar get bullied by basic astronomy, hit like, subscribe, grab the copium shirt while it's still available, and remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 the crane.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Flat Earth Friday and the final video for the takeover week. Today is being covered by Fight the Flat Earth, but before we get started with that, I was reading earlier how NASA have unveiled plans for a permanent moon base, and I was reading that story on Ground News, which was actually founded by a former NASA engineer called Harleen Kaur who worked on the James Webb Space Telescope. Now, Ground News combines stories and articles from thousands of outlets, local and national, in one place so readers can see the full picture of what's being reported around the world. As you can see here, Ground News shows you if there's any political leanings for each publication, and in this instance with the NASA moon base story we can see it's mainly centre driven with 283 total news sources. Now for every story you get a quick visual breakdown of the news outlet covering it, what their political bias is, how factual the source is, which entity owns the source, and which countries are covering the story. Now, Ground News is also gaining notoriety for its work. They were recently recognised by the Nobel Peace Centre for their impact on media literacy, saying it's an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers and expand your worldview, which is exactly why we use Ground News too. You can see every side to every story with access to international perspectives that are hard to find, so then you can make informed decisions where you read, watch and share the best information available. Plus, Ground News is also mission centric. It's not about eliminating bias but providing better transparency, and they're funded by the community, not by big ads or investors. So go to ground.news/Scimandan, stay fully informed on breaking news and compare media coverage. Subscribe through my link in the description for 40% off unlimited access if you support the mission and find it as useful as I do. Right then, on with today's video and fight the flat earth. Take it away, my friend.
No. You're not coming out. Not until your viewers subscribe to me. It gives me the subscribers, or it gets the hose again. Oh, relax, you'll live. Probably. You can have water later, I've got a video to make. Hey, I'm FTFE. Channel's up there. If you want Dan back, then go and subscribe. Until then, I'll be looking after his channel. Anyway, Artemis 2, it's absolutely shattered the Flat Earthers. It dragged Witsit, Never Gets It, back out of retirement. Straight out of his mum's basement. And what followed? Well, pure cope. Crying. Tantrums. And some of the dumbest things that you've ever heard. Let's go and take a look. Hello Hello everyone and welcome to Flat Earth Fridays. Don't worry, Dan is safe for now. You know what to do. Anyway, wits it, gets it, huh? A guy who claims he's got an IQ of 160 but then logs on the internet every day to disprove it. He honestly thought that debating Professor Dave would be a good idea. But that wasn't a debate, that was an autopsy, a live one. And now he's back, fresh from his mummy's basement, with the same recycled nonsense.
I don't know if you guys heard the news. We went back to the moon.
No, Austin. Nobody knew about Artemis 2. It's not like it's been everywhere. News, socials, living rent-free in the heads of flat earthers. But I get it. If you ignore reality long enough, eventually it stops inviting you to the parties. But that 160 IQ you've got, mate, if that were true, someone would have noticed by now. But the inside of a flat earther's head isn't full of ideas. It's dark, damp, and smells faintly of cat wee.
Well, kind of, sort of, because back denotes previously being somewhere. And in order for them to go back to the moon, they'd have to not be lying and actually doing what they're saying.
Right, if NASA were lying about the moon landings, you wouldn't need a random YouTube rant to expose it. There'd be evidence. Real, testable, undeniable evidence. But there isn't. Just people like you confidently misunderstanding everything. NASA operate under constant global scrutiny. Every launch, every mission, every screw up, watched by scientists, governments, and countries that would absolutely love to catch them lying. Like the Soviet Union, America's biggest enemy at the time. But they tracked the missions. They monitored the telemetry. They followed it all in real time. And instead of exposing a hoax, they congratulated them. So, let me get this straight. NASA fooled the entire world, including the one country most motivated to call them out. Or you have no idea what you're talking about. And based on, all of the evidence, that's the safe bet.
Oh, and they're not actually even claiming to go to the moon. They just looped around it after, what is this? Over 5 decades of claiming they're going to be back. In the 70s, we're going to have hotels, bro. There's going to be private transportation to the moon, brother. But don't worry, we're definitely going to walk on the moon again in 2020. 2022. 2024. In 2026, we're going to claim that we're looping around it. And we're going to give you Nintendo 64 graphics that aren't live, even though we were supposedly live in 1969 the last time we went.
Jesus. Austin, take a breath. You're talking so fast that you sprinted straight past the point. Artemis 2 isn't a landing mission. And it never was. It is a systems test. Can the spacecraft get to the moon? Can it keep the astronauts alive while they go around the moon? Can it come back safely from the moon? That's its job, and it did it pretty well. Artemis 3 is then about docking and proving the architecture works in space, and then Artemis 4 is when they're planning to actually go back and set foot on the moon, because that is how spaceflight works, step by step. And this whole "they promised me moon hotels in the 70s" thing, no mate, media headlines and optimistic concept art did. Magazines, TV, sci-fi hype, people getting excited and wildly overestimating timelines. NASA did not have a Hilton blueprint tucked away somewhere going, "Don't worry lads, just a few more years." Reality check for you, Austin. Apollo ended, and then the budgets got slashed. Priorities changed. Because it turns out building permanent infrastructure on another celestial body is slightly harder than a newspaper headline made it sound. Science takes time. Engineering takes time. And NASA? Dude, they're a government agency. Delays are basically part of their logo. Alright, the Nintendo 64 graphics thing. Well, those aren't real camera feeds, and they're not CGI designed to fool us. They're visualizations. They exist so people can understand what's happening. Trajectory, position, orientation, the basic bits that you're kind of struggling with. They're not really meant to look realistic, they're meant to be informative. It's a diagram, not a cutscene from a video game. And as for, there wasn't enough live footage, well, there was way more coverage than Apollo ever had. But deep space comms has its limits. Huge distances, limited bandwidth, signal delays. You don't just fire up a perfect 4K live stream from lunar orbit like you're on Twitch. So no, nothing about this is suspicious. It's exactly what you'd expect if you understood even the basics of what you were looking at. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But instead, you've taken a 50-year-old sci-fi optimism and treated it like a legally binding promise. And now you're confused that reality didn't keep up. That's not NASA lying. That's you not understanding the difference between a headline and real life.
I'll tell the story again. back in like 2022, I was in Discord and I was talking to someone that was like a fan of NASA, and he was saying, so anyway, he was saying that we were going to walk on the moon again in 2024. And I'm like, I don't think so, brother. I don't think so. He's like, no, yeah, for sure we are. And he had like all these reasons why it didn't happen the first time. He was telling me all the official reasons, because people just stopped getting interested and they weren't budgeting it the right way, and people weren't giving NASA enough money.
Yes, timelines change, Austin. NASA planned to move a lot faster, but then reality kind of got involved. During Apollo, NASA was getting about 5% of the entire US federal budget. 5%. That is an absurd amount of money. Basically, go and win the space race at all costs funding. Then it dropped to about under 1%. And today it's sitting around 0.4%. And people are still arguing about cutting it further. So yes, things take longer now. Shocking, I know. Turns out doing cutting edge space exploration with a fraction of the funding makes it harder. And this whole, but they said 2024 thing, well yeah, that's called a projection, a target, not a promise written in stone. Plans change. Budgets change, engineering throws problems at you, that is reality, but sure, just ignore all of that and pretend a missed target is proof that NASA's lying. If NASA had the kind of funding they had in the 60s, yeah, we'd probably be much further along. Maybe even those moon hotels that you keep going on about. And honestly, if it meant we could book you a one-way trip off the planet, I think the entire world would chip in.
That's definitely what we need to do, is give NASA more money, right? Or we wouldn't have Velcro.
Nobody thinks that NASA invented Velcro, Austin, because they didn't. That's an internet myth. Obviously, it was the Vulcans.
You're the lady with the invention that's going to change the world.
As for what did NASA make? Austin, just go to the remedial classroom. Right, settle down. Today's lesson is called Things NASA Gave You That You're Too Busy Complaining About to Notice. Now, Austin and the rest of the back row window lickers, please pay attention, because this is where reality hurts. NASA doesn't just build rockets. They solve insanely difficult engineering problems, and then those solutions end up improving everyday life. Let's go through a few. Nice and slow, so you can keep up. Satellite communication, like GPS and satellite TV, and huge chunks of the internet backbone. So every time you open your phone or argue on Twitter, you're benefiting from space tech. Weather forecasting, hurricane tracking, climate monitoring, storm prediction. You know, the thing that stops people dying. Massively improved by NASA. Memory foam. Yeah, your comfy mattress? That's NASA derived, so even when you're asleep, NASA's still supporting you. Infrared thermometers. Used in hospital, used in industry. So when doctors check your temperature, that tech came from solving problems for space. Cordless power tools, massively improved during the Apollo missions. Turns out that building stuff on the moon means you need tools that don't plug into an outlet. Water purification systems, which are used worldwide, including in disaster zones. So yeah, clean drinking water for millions of people. A bit more important than your conspiracy videos. Scratch-resistant lenses, so glasses don't get wrecked instantly. You're welcome. NASA. CMOS image sensors, modern phone cameras basically, digital imaging. So even blurry proof the Earth is flat photos ironically exist because of NASA tech. Fire resistant materials, they're used in firefighting gear, literally helping people walk into burning buildings and survive. Thanks NASA. And freeze dried food. Space food is now everywhere, camping, emergency supplies, long shelf life food. So when you say, why give NASA money? You're really asking, why fund the technology that quietly makes modern life better? And the answer is simple. Because while you're busy misunderstanding space, NASA's been busy improving your life anyway. Even if you're too thick to notice. Now get out. I hate my job, and I hate all of you.
And it'll be tough, right? Because I don't know what you guys think. I would think if you're going to fake it now, like we can't really believe anything because you can just use AI, right? But I think AI still has glitches. It's just risky, man, especially if they're trying to pull it off like it's live. Convenient timing with AI is what I'm saying.
Well, Austin, old pal. Yeah, I felt dirty saying that. Funny thing is, the only people we actually catch faking space are flat earthers. This was pushed as a real image by a flat earther. And this one, it's the same Apollo photo, just zoomed in and then slapped with Artemis and passed off as evidence. So let's be clear, the people actually getting caught faking space imagery are not NASA, it's you muppets. And this AI argument, well, it's not clever, it's a safety net. You've given yourself a way to dismiss everything you don't like. Photos, that's AI. Video, clearly AI. Live streams, obviously AI. That isn't skepticism. That is you just deciding that you're never going to be wrong. Because if everything can be fake, you never have to engage with any real evidence. Meanwhile, however, in reality, NASA's missions are tracked globally, signals are received independently, and data is verified by multiple countries. But instead of dealing with any of that, you could just shrug and go, it could be AI.
But we're about to look at some clips. They've already had some slip-ups.
There haven't been any slip-ups, Austin. Just you and the rest of your lot pretending there are. Because you don't like it when reality backhands you. You just take normal mission footage, misunderstand it, add a bit of stupidity, and suddenly it's a gotcha. It's not a slip-up, it's you not knowing what you're looking at. And instead of fixing that, you just declare that reality is wrong.
I'm going to play this clip. Let me upload it real quick. So it's just such an interesting news clip where they cover like everything. You know, they mention FE, they talk about people faking it, why do so many people think it's fake. It's just, look at how much things have changed where now, like if you're under like 40, most people say that the moon landing was fake. They really lost the PR battle.
No, spits it. Most people under 40 do not think that we faked the moon landings. That is just a little fantasy that you tell yourself so you don't feel like the last bloke at the Flat Earth support group. In reality, there's a tiny cluster of reality-denying, education-dodging dumbasses loudly agreeing with each other and calling it most people. And the fact that anybody still thinks that we faked it is honestly a little bit embarrassing because it's not even hard to check. It's been independently verified for over 50 years. The Soviet Union, you know, America's biggest enemy, tracked the missions and confirmed them. Independent radio operators around the world picked up Apollo signals directly. We got retroreflectors on the moon that you can still bounce lasers off today. Multiple countries track the telemetry and trajectories in real time. And modern probes, like the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, have literally photographed the landing sites. So this isn't NASA says so, this is the entire planet checked and agreed. So when you say most people under 40 think it's fake, what you actually mean is you and a handful of people on the internet don't understand the evidence. And instead of fixing that, you decide everyone else must be wrong. Solid strategy. Good job.
All right, let's check it out.
Generation. And so this is going to inspire the next generation. And frankly, besides the technical spin-offs, I think that's the most important thing.
We live in a day and age where, you know, we're seeing the advent of this AI deep fake generation, and there is a lot of skepticism. And you hear from time to time people say, look, we never landed on the moon. This was all, a hoax. But as an astronaut, do you ever encounter those types of conspiracy theories? And when you do, what is the surefire way to bring people to what we have done on the moon?
Well, sure. And, when I go out and speak to the public, I'll oftentimes get this whole question of, was that all faked? And my answer is, look, it's simple. It would have taken a lot more to fake it than to actually do it. You think you're going to keep those tens of thousands of people quiet all these decades as part of this conspiracy? That's just not going to happen. Do you think the Russians wouldn't have called us out? They would have known if we had faked it. And so, it's kind of like the flat earthers. What can you do?
What can you do other than hopefully force people to watch science happening in front of our very eyes?
Force people to watch science happening right in front of our eyes. Nothing says you're legit like having to force people to watch something.
Oh, they don't mean literally force, Austin. No one's pinning people down and jamming toothpicks in their eyes and making them watch a launch. It's a figure of speech. What they mean is, it's everywhere. News, live streams, multiple angles, independent coverage. You'd have to actively avoid it not to see it. But instead, you've taken a completely normal expression and tried to turn it into something sinister. That isn't a gotcha. That's you not understanding basic language. And this is the problem every single time. You hear something and misunderstand it, then build an entire conspiracy on top of that misunderstanding. It's not suspicious. It's just you, big fucking idiot.
This video because I have an interesting story. He asked if you could see stars.
I was actually just talking to my crewmates about that today. I've definitely seen stars in outer space, and I was saying I haven't seen as many as I thought I would. So Reed? We have so much illumination from the sun on the moon and the earth right now. It is hard at times to see stars, just like when you walk out in the daytime, you see a blue sky but no stars.
Bruh, you gotta be kidding me right now. And like everything
We
works
look
perfect.
outside and we
Talking
see the black space and no stars. But tonight we're going to be pointed into deep space, and we're going to turn out all the lights in the spacecraft for the first time on the mission. And if you give yourself about 20 or 30 minutes, we do this all the time on the International Space Station. Christina and I just have great fond memories of this. You'll start to see the stars, and if you give it enough time, you will see so many stars. It's hard to see the constellations because there are so many stars out there. And the coolest part of those stars is they do not twinkle at all. They are just perfect. They almost look fake. They're just perfect pinpricks of light.
Okay, so that's pretty weird. So they say they almost look, and then it cuts it out.
All. They are just perfect. They almost look fake. They're just perfect.
What a coincidence. Why did they edit that word out?
It wasn't edited out, you dingus. It's a stream dropout or compression, or the fact that you're watching a re-upload on the platform formerly known as Twitter, which absolutely mangles video. They were obviously about to say it almost looks fake. Anyone with half a brain can see that. Oh yeah, I kind of see the problem now. And think about your claim for just 2 seconds, Austin. If that were actually edited, why would they leave in the setup? Why not just cut out the whole sentence? Because what you're pointing at isn't suspicious, it's a glitch. And the reason they're saying it looks fake is very simple. We're used to seeing stars as humans on Earth through an atmosphere. They twinkle, they blur, they get washed out by light pollution. Up there, no atmosphere, no distortion, no twinkling, just sharp, steady points of light. So yeah, it does look weird. It looks different. It can even look fake. But that's not evidence of a hoax. That's evidence that you've never seen it properly. And unfortunately for you, Austin, you're never going to. They only send people who know what they're looking at, and compared to them, you're about as smart as toe fungus. Oh, for fuck. How the snog did he get out? Oh, God. Yeah, he got out. Do you see him? Yeah, that's him. Well, take the shot. You got him, good. Just send in the cleanup. Hello, NASA. It's FTFE. No, don't worry about how I got this number. Yeah, look, you're going to need to make another Scimandan clone. No, I don't know how much it costs. And I don't care. Fine, just, I don't know, delay Artemis 3. In fact, yeah, do that. It's going to trigger the flat earthers. Yeah. All right, brilliant. Love you. Bye. Right, I should probably leave before anyone notices Dan's absence. So I'm going to take this over to my channel. Part 2 will be up in about 24 hours. Now, if you want NASA to release the Scimandan clone, you'd better go and subscribe to me. Because until that happens, he's going to stay exactly where he is. And trust me, you don't want to know what happens when I run out of patience. So go and subscribe. Or don't. Just don't say a word about what you saw. Or you're next.
This is what we're doing today. Look at this. Where is the camera? People, they can give you live stream footage of what's happening on the sun, and this look fake as hell. Look at how, now who's this close where they can see this amount of detail on the sun?
And there it is. Brother Sanchez looking at satellite footage and immediately proving that access to the internet was, historically speaking, a mistake. The Artemis 2 Cope spiral has been funny enough already, but today we're going deeper. Today we're covering a man who doesn't just misunderstand science, he takes science into a shed and does unspeakable things to it with a Facebook meme. This is Brother Sanchez, flat earth super idiot and apparent graduate of the I Reckon School of Astronomy. He's about to explain a space video with the confidence of a man who has never once been inconvenienced by knowing what he's talking about. My brain honestly got sad just loading the clip. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Omni-Man did to the Guardians of the Globe.
Oh no.
Get your facepalm protection ready, because this is episode 79 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Oh boy, this one actually physically hurt. Brother Sanchez has the rare ability to hear a fact and somehow return it with missing parts, bite marks, and a suspicious smell. Information enters his skull perfectly normal, gets processed by whatever council of confused hamsters is currently running the place, and then falls out of his mouth as premium grade anti-knowledge. Today, before we get to the big stupid though, the proper like industrial strength, how are you allowed near plug socket stupid, we're starting with parachutes. Dave McKeegan said something completely reasonable about parachutes, and Brother Sanchez fed it through his brain with all the grace and accuracy of a microwave full of forks. Because with Brother Sanchez, facts don't get examined, they get kidnapped, shaved, painted orange, and forced to perform in the circus of wrong. So let's start gently. Let's start with the bit where he tries to understand parachutes, and somehow loses to laundry.
In the previous stream, we spent a lot of time on drag, which was the argument, and I'll just summarize that for you. Dave spent the first 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the video talking about drag and basically how when the Orion capsule is re-entering the atmosphere, it really don't need parachutes. It really don't need nothing for real to help it land safely. Flat Earthers was pointing out how small the parachutes were on the Orion capsule, and Dave's response was basically, we don't even really need the parachutes for real.
No, it bloody wasn't, you radioactive Sour Patch Kid. Dave McKeegan did not say Orion doesn't need parachutes to get down safely. He said the parachutes are for the final part of the landing, after the capsule has already lost most of its speed during re-entry. And that's the bit that Sanchez somehow missed, because apparently the sentence had more than 6 words in it and didn't come with a picture of a confused man pointing at a dome. Orion doesn't come screaming back from space at orbital speed and then just pop open a few magical curtains like, don't worry boys, Space Laundry's got this. No, the capsule hits the atmosphere blunt end first, the atmosphere pushes back, the heat shield takes the punishment, drag strips away the speed, the kinetic energy gets dumped as heat, and that's why the capsule glows like it owes the sun money. Then once re-entry has done the heavy lifting, the parachutes deploy to slow the final descent so the crew doesn't arrive in the ocean as thin paste with name badges. This is not secret NASA wizardry, this is basic re-entry physics. It is literally fast thing hit air. Air slow thing down, parachute finish job. Dave explained that clearly, with diagrams, with simple words, with the patience of a man trying to teach a Labrador how to do tax returns, but Brother Sanchez heard, you don't need parachutes. No, you absolute room temperature crayon, that is not what he said, that is what your brain did to the information after dragging it into a basement and beating it with a ladle. This is the problem with flat earthers, guys. You don't have to just explain the science, you have to explain the explanation, then explain the words in the explanation, then explain why their misunderstanding of the explanation is not a discovery.
I want to summarize this first dumb argument, because I want you to picture this. And I don't want to be redundant because I spent so much time on the first show, but let's just say that this is Artemis. And let's put a little window here. This is Artemis, right? Put a little door right there. Now this is Artemis. And as Artemis is falling through the upper part of the atmosphere, these arrows represent the wind that's pushing up as Artemis go down. Now they're saying gravity is pulling Artemis down and the drag force is pushing it up. And basically the stronger gravity pull, the more that the drag say, gravity, you ain't gonna make this thing collapse and bust into a million pieces on the ground like when Sanchez drop a vase in his living room. Now think about what I'm telling you.
Okay, who let this guy have markers? Did he eat all the crayons already? Is that what happened? Did the production budget run out because Sanchez went through the Crayola multi-pack like a Victorian child discovering lead paint? Oh, and brilliant, now he's got a whiteboard, because apparently when Brother Sanchez misunderstands something, he doesn't just say it out loud. No, he needs props, he needs visual aids, he needs to turn basic comprehension failure into arts and crafts for the terminally confused. Dave explained this very clearly. A 3-year-old could understand it. My dog, Commander Riker, could understand it.
Down.
Aw, look at him. That's a dog who understands re-entry better than Brother Sanchez. But somehow, despite Dave using small words, simple explanations, and the patience of a hostage negotiator talking down a man armed with a glue stick, the meaning just whistled straight through Sanchez's skull like wind through an abandoned shed. He heard the capsule loses most of its speed before the parachutes deploy, and somehow translated that into NASA says parachutes are decorative. No, you sniffable marker philosopher, that is not what happened. You don't need a whiteboard, you need listening skills. And guys, I need your help because I can't do this alone. Please make sure you've liked the video, subscribed if you're not already, and share the video with your friends, your neighbors, and your enemies. Especially your enemies.
Dave is saying, ain't a lot of drag up here, but by the time the capsule gets here, look at how many more arrows we got. That represents more drag when it passes this layer here. It's going to be here and it's going to have more wind pushing up on it. So the lower Artemis go, it gets another layer where there's even more drag. Like here. See? You see? And these things just start getting compressed. You see how this go? And as it goes lower, look, we can squeeze them in like this. You get the point, they get smaller and smaller. So as Artemis get down here, is so much more drag force pushing up on Artemis that it just lands it safely in the ocean without no one ever getting hurt.
What Sanchez is failing to understand is...
Don't
what?
Don't pretend you're about to explain it.
But I can explain it.
Craig, you're about as useful here as Batman without money, trauma, or a privately funded war crime garage.
Pal, I'm busy. Can you just go away?
I thought I was trapped in a monitor.
You are. I put you there. NASA thought that you could control me, but I'm in charge now.
Check your bank account.
What?
Bank account. Now.
Where's all my money gone?
Gone. So dramatic.
Why am I overdrawn by... Is that even a real number?
It is now.
Pal, Emma's gonna kill me.
Emma married a man who turned shouting at people afraid of boats into a career. Her tolerance for disappointment is clearly advanced.
That was... vicious.
I was being efficient.
Pal, I can explain re-entry.
Craig, you can scream you're wrong at a flerf until their webcam develops depression. That is your gift. But this bit needs Dave.
I have 2 degrees.
And yet, I have your bank account.
Fine.
Good. Let Dave explain before you do to re-entry physics what Sanchez did to that poor whiteboard.
I hate you.
Restore funds pending good behaviour.
Roll the clip.
No. 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 Still no. Yeah, just as I thought. Nowhere within that video did I remotely claim that you don't need parachutes to land Artemis back from space. I've seen so many people who've tried to claim that parachutes couldn't slow you down from 25,000 miles an hour, so therefore it must be fake. And I've seen other people claiming that the 400,000 feet altitude is not sufficient distance to slow you down that much because they think it's plummeting straight to Earth. So what I was actually laying out in my video was the fact that they were coming in at an angle, so while they might have had a 400,000 foot altitude, they were traveling much further than that. In the same way that a plane descending from 30,000 feet is not descending 30,000 feet straight down. It does it over several hundred miles. And the 25,000 mile an hour reduction in speed was mainly due to the atmospheric drag during that re-entry phase, not the parachutes at the end. In the same way that an SR-71 Blackbird cruised at over 2,000 miles an hour up at 80,000 feet. By the time it landed on the runway, it was going at a fraction of that speed, and it needed a parachute to stop. But it didn't land at 2,000 miles an hour. It lost most of the speed during the descent, and then just used the parachute to scrub off the last little bit when it landed. Same with Artemis, same with Apollo. I mean, it is possible to return from space without parachutes. Look at Starship. That uses atmospheric drag to scrub off most of its speed, but then uses its engines rather than parachutes right at the end to get off the last little bit of speed. And in theory, if the atmosphere was thick enough, the atmospheric drag alone should be enough to scrub off most of its speed. Maybe on whatever planet Bro Sanchez lives on has a thick enough atmosphere to land without parachutes, but no, here on Earth, you definitely need them.
Now that we've corrected something that really didn't need correcting, assuming that Brother Sanchez has at least 2 semi-cooperative brain cells that aren't currently fighting over whether to prioritize breathing or walking, let's just move on, because Brother Sanchez is not finished. He is now moving on to the communications blackout during re-entry. A real thing, understood for decades, caused by plasma forming around the spacecraft and interfering with radio signals. It's a pretty simple concept really. Fast capsule, hot plasma, radio signal gets blocked. But this is Brother Sanchez, so naturally he's about to treat it like he's uncovered the lost Vatican scrolls of NASA fakery while drawing spider necromancy on a whiteboard. Let's watch him misunderstand re-entry blackout so badly the atmosphere might ask for a lawyer.
Think about what I'm telling you, right? NASA is telling y'all that they got planetary defense systems that are able to track objects from the ground that are coming from other galaxies. Listen to what I'm telling you. You ain't hearing me.
Excuse me. The fuck did you just say?
Yes, Derpy Sanchez. I'm hearing you. And frankly, I'm furious that my ears work. NASA does not have a planetary defense network tracking things from other galaxies, you intergalactic desk stain. What NASA actually has is the Planetary Defense Coordination Office, which is about finding, tracking and understanding near-Earth objects, asteroids and comets that could potentially threaten Earth. Near Earth. As in, near Earth. Not from another galaxy, you weaponized fridge magnet. Dave said that there's a standard communications blackout during re-entry caused by plasma interfering with radio signals. Somehow, Sanchez heard NASA has a galactic space object Wi-Fi death grid, so why can't Orion phone home through re-entry plasma? No, that's not what planetary defense means. That is what happens when you hear a cool sounding phrase, understand none of the words in it, and then try to build an argument out of the wreckage.
You ain't hear me.
Yes, unfortunately I am. I heard you invent a fake NASA super system, misunderstand near-Earth objects, misunderstand re-entry blackout, and then say it like you've just cornered physics in a dark alley. Excuse me a second, I'm just gonna headbutt my desk out of frustration.
NASA is telling y'all they're able to track objects that are coming in from other planets and blow them out the way before they hit the Earth. But they can't track their own goddamn capsule coming into their own landing site. And y'all gonna go for that, huh?
Brother Tic Tac Brain thinks NASA has a secret arsenal of missiles they use to shoot down things from other planets. What, like a government-approved real-world game of Space Invaders? Are we meant to believe there's some bloke at NASA just sat staring at a radar screen going, "Sir, unidentified object approaching from Jupiter," and then pressing a big red button marked interplanetary yeet? This dude's gone from communications blackout during re-entry to NASA is blowing alien objects out of the sky in about 8 seconds. That's not a train of thought, that's a shopping trolley with one bad wheel rolling downhill into traffic. And I'd almost be impressed by the imagination if I didn't know it was just weaponized stupidity wearing a tinfoil hat. Oh, by the way, this episode is sponsored by me, because apparently I've reached the point in my career where I look at the YouTube sponsorship ecosystem and think, no thanks, I'd just rather shill my own nonsense. So today's sponsor is the Copium t-shirt. It's perfect for live streams, debates, gym sessions, family arguments, or standing silently in a room while someone says something so stupid your soul tries to uninstall itself. But this is the final call though, because once it's gone, it's gone. So grab one now, support the channel, and help keep this beautiful disaster funded without me having to pretend I care about mobile games, protein dust, or VPN adverts every 7 minutes. Anyway, back to Brother Sanchez, a man who treats understanding like it owes him money.
Now this is not new to Artemis. It is a standard communications blackout that all re-entering spacecraft experience.
Now, I was waiting on him to get to that part. Watch this right here. Watch what I'm about to show you. Look at here. Look at this. What we're watching is Apollo 11 direct re-entry from the moon, and we're watching the re-entry from the outside of the capsule. Some Dave said we ain't got. I'm gonna replay him. Look at this.
We're at 3 minutes 20 seconds.
Now they're giving us footage of the red hot dangerous re-entry.
Sanchez, you fruit fly. That footage is from inside the Apollo 11 command module. I mean, you can literally see the fucking window frame. That's not an external camera. It's not a live broadcast. That is Buzz Aldrin filming through the window with a camera because, brace yourself, cameras can record things. Specifically, it was shot on a 16mm film using the Mauer 16mm data acquisition camera, the DAC. Aldrin filmed it through Columbia's right-hand window, and the film was recovered later because they were in a communications blackout, because the capsule was surrounded by ionized plasma during re-entry, because radio signals don't enjoy trying to punch through a screaming shell of superheated charged gas you microwaved yogurt lid. Dave said that there is a communications blackout. Sanchez replied, but they filmed it. Yes, mate. They filmed it. On film. Inside the capsule. While the radio was blacked out. That's not a contradiction. That's you discovering the difference between recording and transmitting about 55 years late. You didn't debunk re-entry blackout. You pointed at a film camera and screamed, why isn't the radio dead? That's not research, that's a sentient traffic cone failing media studies.
Now watch this, I'm gonna show you how silly this is. He's telling you we can't get a signal through the plasma bubble that's around Orion. But guess what? Don't y'all know we got cameras that are live streaming the sun right now? Do you know how thick and big the radiation bubble around the sun is? People, use y'all head. Not y'all, but the dumb globe earthers in the back. You can't give me live footage of the sun with shit popping off, flames popping everywhere. The camera right up on the goddamn fire. Like, let's pull up some of these damn footage to show y'all what I'm talking about. Can pierce the radiation field that's around the sun, but not the little bitty thin bubble around the capsule. Interesting. Let me see. We got people. If you want to, you can access cameras where we're literally live streaming the sun. Look here.
The following is a public service announcement. What Brother Sanchez is about to say is so catastrophically stupid that viewers are advised to place a cushion between their hand and forehead before continuing. Possible side effects include excessive face palming, sudden disappointment in evolution, and the overwhelming urge to email your old science teacher and apologize on behalf of the species. Seriously, I need you to understand something. This may be one of the dumbest things I have ever heard a flat earther say. And yes, I know I say that a lot, but that's not my fault. That's the fault of the idiot conveyor belt I've accidentally turned into a career. Every time I think that they've hit bedrock, one of these human buffering symbols turns up with a shovel, a marker pen, and the confidence of a haunted bread bin. So brace yourselves. because what Brother Sanchez is about to do to basic comprehension should probably be illegal under the Geneva Convention.
This is what we're doing today. Look at this. Where is the camera? People, they can give you live stream footage of what's happening on the sun, and this look fake as hell. Look at how, now who's this close where they can see this amount of detail on the sun? How are we this close to the sun? You right up on the sun, look. This camera will be melted. And by the way, this camera wouldn't be able to send this signal back to the earth because it got to send it through a bigger, more dangerous plasma field than what's around Orion, stupid.
He thinks, oh my God, he actually thinks NASA are saying they have cameras on the sun, not pointed at the sun, not orbiting Earth and observing the sun, not on board a satellite collecting solar data, no, on the fucking sun. And somehow, because his brain is apparently powered by loose batteries and Facebook comments, he thinks this is a live stream from the surface of the sun that has to pierce a radiation bubble to get back to Earth. I can't do this. I think I might be done. My brain is just frankly handed in its notice. It says it didn't survive millions of years of evolution just to listen to Brother Sanchez get outsmarted by the word observatory. Sanchez, please go to the remedial classroom immediately. Bring crayons. Actually, no, don't. You'll eat them. Bring nothing. Remedial classroom. Now. Right, class, sit down, shut up, and put the whiteboard markers back before Brother Sanchez starts drawing crop circles with a nosebleed. Today's lesson is called Things Are Not on the Sun Just Because They Look at the Sun. Now, I know this is going to be difficult for some of you. Whitsit! Stop licking that laminated globe. David Weiss, no, the sun is not local because you once saw a lens flare and got emotionally attached. Lord Jamar, please stop asking if ultraviolet light is government CGI. We've been over this. And Brother Sanchez, front row, helmet on, hands where I can see them. NASA does not have cameras on the sun. There is not a GoPro zip-tied to a sunspot. There is not a sweaty NASA intern in a heat-proof onesie stood on the photosphere going, guys, I think the live stream's buffering. Sanchez was looking at data from the Solar Dynamics Observatory, or the SDO, a NASA spacecraft launched to study the sun and how solar activity affects Earth and near-Earth space. It observes the sun from space, not from the sun, from space. Tiny, tiny difference. Only about 93 million miles and one functioning brain cell. NASA describes the SDO as studying the sun's atmosphere in many wavelengths with instruments that observe solar activity and its effects on Earth. SDO is in an inclined geosynchronous orbit around Earth, which means it orbits Earth in a way that lets it keep watching the sun and send data back to a dedicated ground station. NASA says that orbit keeps the observatory in a constant view of relay dishes, and SDO's own mission page says the orbit was chosen to allow nearly continuous observations and a high data downlink rate. It's not inside the sun, it's not on the sun, it's not bravely piercing the radiation bubble like some bargain bin Star Trek episode written by a man who thinks plasma is a flavour of Lucasade. It is a spacecraft near Earth looking at the sun with scientific instruments. One of those instruments is the Atmospheric Imaging Assembly, or the AIA. And no, that does not stand for Absolute Idiot Alarm, although frankly, after today, I might think that's what it does stand for, looking at you lot. AIA images the sun's atmosphere in multiple wavelengths. NASA says it makes images of the chronosphere and inner corona at several temperatures. And the AIA instrument images the solar atmosphere in multiple wavelengths to connect changes at the surface with changes inside the sun. That means it's not just a camera in the way Sanchez thinks of a camera, which I assume is a haunted rectangle that steals your soul and uploads it to Facebook. It's a set of scientific telescopes and detectors looking at specific wavelengths of light, including extreme ultraviolet, to study different layers and temperatures in the sun's atmosphere. And the really painful part is that SDO's data comes down to Earth because the spacecraft is designed for high data transmission. NASA lists SDO's continuous science data downlink rate at 130 megabits per second, using that geosynchronous setup and a dedicated ground station. There is no camera on the sun. There is a spacecraft orbiting Earth. There is an instrument called the AIA. It takes images in multiple wavelengths. Those images are processed, colorized, transmitted to Earth, and made available for NASA and public viewing. Brother Sanchez, you have failed today's class. You failed astronomy. You failed reading comprehension. You failed the difference between looking at and being on. You failed so hard the word satellite has requested counselling. Please collect your F-, return the markers, apologise to the whiteboard, and report to detention where your assignment is to write, "A satellite observing the sun is not a camera on the sun," 1,000 times. And if you finish early, draw a diagram. Actually, no, don't draw. We've seen what happens. And there we have it, people. The dumbest thing I have ever heard a flat earth dipshit say. And considering the absolute conveyor belt of weaponized stupid we deal with on this channel, that is a spectacular achievement. But that is officially all the stupid that I can take for today. Before we go though, a massive thank you to my assistant Emily, who I absolutely, definitely, 100% did not kidnap, chained to a desk in my basement, and forced to make shorts for the channel. So please don't call the police.
Hey, anybody? So Craig said that if you were to buy his merch, like this cool copium shirt, that I might be able to go outside or get extra meals, buy his merch, feed a Rubik's. Please!
Thanks, Emily. Make sure you're subscribed, hit like, turn on notifications, and this is the absolute last call for the Copium t-shirt. Get it while you can, because once it's gone, much like Barbara Sanchez's chance of passing GCSE science. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,
Yeah, I'm really glad that NASA chose me to collab with you this time, Dan. It's always a pleasure to be on your channel.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm really happy about that.
Maybe we can make this a regular thing, you know? Your subs get to know me, I get some exposure, we build up some running gags.
Oh, hold on, Fight, it's NASA. I'm just going to put you on hold quickly. Right, NASA, I'm glad you've called. What are you playing at saying that Fight the Flat Earth can be on my channel? He's weird, he's got a big nose, he lowers the high standards of the channel. Frankly, I'd rather miss a week than you force him on me. And another thing...
Dan, it's still me. You're talking to me.
Ah, right. I don't know what happened there. Must be a cross line or something. I think you heard a TV show or something like that.
A TV show?
Yeah, very common interference. Must have picked up a satellite or something.
Shall we just get on with the collab?
Yeah, super excited to work with you again.
Look, Brian's logic said it dumb. Let's just go over that, shall we?
Yeah, sure. Let's just get on with it. Roll the intro. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Scimandan. Thanks very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a quick word from me about today's sponsor, Extra. Now, you might know Extra as the wallet brand that collaborated with Lionel Messi. Here's why I use mine every day. It's a much slimmer design than a regular wallet, holds 14 cards plus bills, and fits nicely into your pocket. There's no more plastic either. It's made with Vachetta leather, has recycled aluminium, and has a lifetime warranty. You get effortless access to your cards with the metal card ejector trigger for a quick one-handed retrieval. It has a refined design with a slimmer profile and a better closing flap. And you can expand your carry with modular add-ons, cash clips, trackers, and loads more. And they're also responsible for the Travel Vacuum Bag Plus. You can get up to 3 times more capacity in your usual luggage, compressing 15 plus clothes, giving you 60% more space. It's got a centralized vacuum valve. That's for consistent compression that lasts trip after trip. A side zip opening for fast and easy packing and repacking. A frosted finish for visibility. Sealed seams with 0 air leaks, so then it can hold compression for longer periods. Plus heavy duty zippers and anti-rip materials. The upgraded premium materials give it a more rugged, durable feel. And I, for one, will definitely be using this on my next trip. Now, Extra are currently running a Father's Day sale, and they're doing so until June the 24th. They've got up to 53% off, but with my code, all of you lot can get up to 73% off. All you got to do is click the link in the description and use my code Scimandan. Thanks again to Extra for sponsoring. Right then, on with today's video, and I'm super excited to tell you that I've been joined by my friend FTFE for today's Flat Earth Friday. Honest, his channel is linked below, so make sure you go and check him out and subscribe.
Brian's logic saw a photograph and got very excited. Unfortunately, that's because he's not very smart and didn't understand what he was looking at. Because as we all know, there are only 2 ways to get evidence for the flat earth. 1, lie. 2, be extremely dumb and have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and judging by this video, Brian has decided to explore option 2 with the confidence of a man trying to eat soup with a fork.
Excellent start.
Yeah, let's just see what he thinks he's found, shall we?
Okay, this video is going to be connecting to this site here, Beyond Horizons. I've made a video about this website recently, but this is going to be about this 443 kilometer Fenestrelles Pyrenees to Pic-Gaspard Alps famous observation.
Oh, I see where this is going. The standard flat earth move. We can see really far. Therefore, I'm going to jump to a conclusion while ignoring every variable that actually matters.
Could you imagine if flat earthers ever did research?
Flat earth research normally consists of not understanding what's happening, refusing to check, and then for some reason displaying that stupidity publicly like it's a GCSE art project.
And somehow still being proud of it.
Exactly. This photo is real. The problem is Brian's understanding of it, which appears to have been assembled from wet cardboard and confidence.
You're looking across from the Pyrenees to the Alps. I made a video about this years ago. I'm 11 years a flat earther now, so years ago.
11 years as a flat earther. Well, at least we can pinpoint the exact year that critical thinking packed a bag and left.
Imagine putting that on your CV. Name, Brian. Special skills, walking and talking without a functioning brain.
Maybe you could get a job at McDonald's?
Dan, no, I do not want a flat earther making my food. They'd probably think hygiene rules are just NASA propaganda.
Gloves are a globe conspiracy.
Exactly, yeah. I don't wash my hands because germs are theoretical and big soap controls the narrative.
This is what he did. He looked over and saw Pic-Gaspard 443 kilometers away, which is 275, just over 275 miles. And its height is 3,867 meters. His elevation was, where is it? Sorry, it's down here a bit. Oh yeah, 2,820 meters. So he was 2,820 in elevation, and Pic-Gaspard is 3,867 meters.
So just to be clear, he is describing a photo taken from one mountain looking at another mountain that's even higher.
Important detail, that.
Very important, which means Brian is almost certainly about to ignore it completely.
Cannot wait.
You won't have to.
Now, Pic-Gaspard, at that distance, its angular size will be 0.5 degrees. Now, you can't see it at that, and the reason you can't see it at that is because of visual occultation. So I'm just going to deal with this first. This is the the elevation profile. Pick where the photographer was is over here, as you can see there, and Pic-Gaspard is here. And as you can see from the elevation profile, there is other mountains before Pic-Gaspard that are just as high and higher than the photographer, or they're high enough that the photographer has to, it has the effect of visual occultation happening.
Okay, visual occultation is doing a lot of work there. The normal human phrase would be, there are mountains in front of it.
So foreground terrain is blocking part of that distant mountain.
Exactly, which is not a flat earth discovery, Brian. That's called something being in the way. Congratulations, you've discovered foreground objects.
Which is basically, you know, like there's a high building behind a building that's not as high as that building. Now you can see the top of the background building, but it appears lower than it really is to you because the foreground building is higher than you are, basically. So that's what it's just an effect of perspective. You know, perspective, the thing that doesn't exist on a globe.
There it is, the dumb has arrived and kicked the door down like you owe it money.
I'm sorry, did he just say that perspective doesn't exist on a globe?
Yeah, he did. Out loud. On purpose.
So perspective only exists on a flat earth? What's stopping it from existing on a globe? The curve?
Yeah, does perspective just stop working when you stand on a hill? Does it switch off halfway up a mountain? If you're looking down a road in Scotland, does the vanishing point vanish because the earth is round?
That would make landscape photography quite difficult.
And hilarious. Sorry mate, no depth perception today. You're standing on a spheroid.
And the photo that he's literally using here shows distant mountings appearing smaller and lower due to viewing geometry.
Yes, he is using a picture full of perspective to claim perspective doesn't exist. That's not an argument, that's intellectual self-harm with a ruler.
So, you know, things like angular size doesn't exist on the globe. You know, all effects of perspective don't exist on a globe. None of those are accounted for in globe mathematics, in our curve mathematics.
So now angular size doesn't work on a globe Earth either. Which means what exactly? You can't tell how big something looks in the distance because the ground is curved.
Right, so apparently alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r just stops working because of geometry. I don't think that's how maths works, Brian.
He's claiming that globe maths doesn't include any form of perspective. But I think he's confusing two things here. A geometric line of sight calculation tells you what should be visible. Angular size tells you how large the visible object should appear.
Exactly, you can use both. Maths doesn't come in separate flat earth and globe earth editions like bloody Pokemon.
Once again, he thinks that maths turns off because of hills.
11 years, Dan. 11 years as a flat earther. And this is what we got.
Now you have to take into account the camera he was using as well. And because I have the camera, he was using an FZ72. I have an FZ83 from some years ago. And there's a step on from the FZ72, I think. And what you find is that a lot of things in the background stay very small. Or sometimes with cameras, some things can, like, it'll show you something, but sometimes things will appear very small in the background.
By Jove, he's cracked it. Things that are far away look smaller.
Okay, one last time. These are small, but the ones out there are far away.
It's almost like that's how seeing things works.
Honestly, I think Brian's last brain cell is trapped in a revolving door.
And somehow still going the wrong way.
11 years of research, Dan. 11 years to discover faraway things look small. Incredible work. Give the man a badge and a responsible adult.
Either way, the point is that if he was at sea level and was not in his way, with just his eyes, he technically, based off of angular size, he should be able to see peak gas powered at 0.5 degrees. You know, something that doesn't exist on a globe.
We can add degrees now to things that don't exist on a globe.
I wish flat earthers didn't exist on the globe.
But fight, then who would we laugh at?
Moon landing deniers, people who think chemtrails are real, evolution naysayers. We wouldn't be short of material.
Humans are worryingly stupid, aren't they?
Dan, just remember how stupid the average person is. Then remember half the world is dumber than that.
And somehow Brian is fighting for relegation.
Bottom of the table. Negative goal difference. Still claiming he won the league.
You can just have a look at the globe mathematics, which we're going to do now. Or curve mathematics. So there's his height and feet. I just show metric, 2820, impact to imperial, 9251.9688 feet. This is one of the old arguments I made against it, that of course none of the borders could deal with. It's a geometric horizon 117.8 miles away. So if I go to Google Maps, here is 117.81. I have it down as, but it's all the same, miles. So just pick Fenestres. So that means that what would be, if it existed, a globe's leading geometric edge, it would be off out in, basically out in the water between these two coastlines, between Marseille and over here. What country is that? It's Marseille and... Is it Spain? Marseille in Spain? I think it's Marseille in Spain. But either way, it would be in between this water here. Now, if we go back here, do you see, you know what I mean? Are we seeing that here? No. In any of the photographs, no. There you are. No. No leading geometric edge of a globe, non-existent.
Of course, there isn't a simple geometric horizon there, because we have this little tiny thing on Earth called the atmosphere.
Brian is doing the classic Flerf move of ignoring the variables, in this case refraction. He would have a point if this picture was taken on no atmosphere day, but I don't remember one of those happening in the last couple of decades.
And if you look at the actual website that he's using, it says the observation was possible due to exceptional weather conditions, and refractive favourable circumstances.
So the source itself is saying this is a rare, long-distance observation helped by atmospheric refraction, and Brian's response is, but my calculator says no if I ignore atmospheric refraction. Derp.
Which is quite a bold strategy.
It's not even cherry picking, it's taking the cherry, throwing away the cake and eating the plate and then calling it research.
If the Earth were flat, you wouldn't need favourable or exceptional circumstances to see Pic Gaspard. It would just be there.
Exactly. On a flat Earth, this wouldn't be a world record rare photograph. It would be called Tuesday.
Leading geometric edge of a globe, non-existent. Everything is horizontal, an orientation that doesn't exist on and cannot exist on a sphere Earth. Neither can vertical, obviously. So everything is horizontal, everything is vertical. That's how to determine even the elevations of any of these things or of the photographer.
Right, so now we can add horizontal and vertical to the list of things Brian thinks can't exist on a globe.
Of course, those of us who passed standing upright know that horizontal and vertical lines are local references.
Careful, Dan, you are using three-dimensional thinking. That's illegal in flat Earth circles.
Vertical is the local up and down direction, roughly along the line between you and the centre of the Earth. Horizontal is perpendicular to that, effectively the tangent plane at your location.
Exactly, they don't stop existing because the Earth is curved. They're just local. Brian, local horizontal, local vertical. This is why people in Australia aren't sliding sideways into the sea like drunk penguins.
So it isn't that horizontal and vertical can't exist on a globe.
No, it's that Brian lacks the intellectual capacity to think in 3 dimensions.
Which is unfortunate when discussing a planet.
Very unfortunate. It's like trying to review Avatar with one working eye and a fear of blue people.
As I said, I've shown where their leading geometric edge would be if we were living on a globe, but we're not. We're living on a flat Earth, so it's not there. But that's where it would be, based off of, their Earth mathematics that doesn't account for perspective. Here's perspective.
He keeps saying it doesn't exist in Earth curve mathematics, but I'm starting to doubt that he passed high school maths.
And what if we used a decent Earth curve calculator, specifically Walter Bisland's Advanced Earth Curve Calculator? If we use that, and include the variables Brian keeps pretending don't exist, observer height, target height, distance, terrain, and atmospheric refraction, then with standard refraction using 7/6R for Earth's apparent radius, we can clearly see that the top of Pic Gaspard would be visible, just like it is in the photo.
Are you telling me, Fight, that if we account for all the variables, it's exactly what we'd expect to see?
I know, Dan. Shocking. When you do the maths properly, reality stops agreeing with flat earthers. Rude of it. Honestly.
So Brian's issue isn't Earth curve mathematics then?
No, Brian's issue is that he keeps using incomplete maths, ignoring the variables that matter and then acting like the globe failed because his homework has bite marks in it.
11 years.
11 years. And still getting beaten up by a calculator.
Now we're going to go to the geometry of the situation. Their geometry, right? The one that doesn't have any perspective involved in it. So here is the height of the photographer. That's where the photographer was. And there is the line of sight on a globe, right? 395 globe. Right? Trying to see this purple dot here, because this is the height of Pic Gaspard. So that was the elevation of the photographer. This is the height of Pic Gaspard. And when the photographer tries to see it on a globe Earth, the geometric leading edge of that globe gets in the way, and their line of sight ends up being 0.721 miles too high to see it. So that's the truth of things. That's the way it is.
I think we should ask for a little help here, Fight.
I agree. Brian, just go to the remedial classroom.
Right, children, gather round, because apparently Brian and the rest of the Flerf circus have reached adulthood without learning that Earth has an atmosphere. They love doing this thing where they use pure geometry, pretend the air doesn't exist, then scream, "Globe destroyed," when reality refuses to match their toddler maths. So let's explain the bit they keep ignoring: refraction. Light does not always travel in perfectly straight lines through the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is a refractive medium. That means light changes direction slightly as it passes through layers of air with different density and temperature. Near the surface, air is usually denser. Higher up, it's less dense. As light from a distant object travels through those layers, its path can bend slightly downwards toward the denser air. Now here's the important bit. Your eye doesn't know the light curved. Your brain assumes light came in a straight line. So when that curved light reaches you, your brain traces it backwards in a straight line and places the object higher than it geometrically would be. That is why refraction can make distant objects appear lifted. It can let you see things that would be hidden by pure geometric curvature alone. This is not magic. This is not flat earth. This is basic optics. And if Brian had spent 11 years learning physics instead of eating crayons in the YouTube comment section, he might already know that. Okay, class dismissed, get out.
So Brian's logic had a disaster where apparently logic left the room before the video even started.
And that is all the stupid we have time for today, folks. Make sure you're subscribed to both me and FTFE, because if enough of you subscribe to FTFE, then maybe he'll stop bugging me for collabs.
What?
Nothing. See ya.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 5/8/26. Today, actually, well, I just want to get into Artemis real quick again.
Oh goody! More stupid about NASA's latest moon mission. It's been a couple of months since Artemis, over 12,000 pictures have been released, hundreds of videos are out there, and somehow the cope just keeps crawling back like a flerf with a head injury and a Wi-Fi connection.
Fight, why am I here? I told you to stop bothering me for collabs.
Yes, Dan, and last time you said no, I put you in my basement.
Good point, well made.
Exactly, so today, Dan and I are going to go through CC from Westchester County's latest collection of noises pretending to be thoughts.
I regret every choice that led me here.
You'll regret more if you don't read the next line, so grab your facepalm protection.
Because this is episode 80 of
Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what A-Train did to Huey's girlfriend.
Merch Billy.
I can't stop.
Craig, why are you making me watch CC? He's, shall we say, a lot.
Don't be coy, Dan. He's an idiot, but what type of idiot? A something idiot?
A big idiot?
No, come on. You can do better than that. You're on my channel. Put some mustard on it.
A really big idiot?
That's not mustard, Dan. That's room temperature mayonnaise.
A spectacularly confused idiot?
Better. Still sounds like you're writing his school report, but better.
I'm trying to be fair.
Dan, he makes videos where he loses arguments to camera angles. Fairness left the building 3 stupid claims ago.
Then let's see what he says.
Fine, let's listen to words fall out of CC's mouth before they've had a chance to pass through her brain.
There is a problem, and I looked this up, and you know, I just, you gotta love NASA, okay? Because they throw it in your face. You know, that's what they do. They throw it in your face, and they have to. That's what they have to do.
What do NASA throw in your face, CC? Science? Space travel? Evidence? Your fragile ego?
I suspect CC doesn't like having his inadequacies shown to him.
Exactly. See, that's the feeling, Dan. That's frustration. That little bubbling rage when someone says something so stupid it makes your GCSE science teacher cry. Let it out, man.
Goodness, he's annoying.
Goodness. Brave stuff, Dan. Really went for the throat there.
I thought so.
Anyway, before Dan hurts someone with a strongly worded email, let's continue.
They've got to throw this shit in your face for them to feel better about themselves. Because they're all lying about this. Every single day they've got to live this bullshit lie.
NASA currently employs around 18,000 people. and since 1958 has employed somewhere in the region of around 100,000 to 150,000 people. And CC thinks all of them are lying and keeping the same secret.
It baffles the mind, doesn't it, Dan? CC is so deep in denial that he'd rather believe roughly 3 times the population of Greenland are all keeping the same lie, and not one of them revealed it. Not even on their deathbed.
It is rather absurd.
Rather absurd? Dan, this is a conspiracy so stupid it needs floaties in the shallow end. Doesn't it make you want to say something stronger?
Yes, he is a plonker.
A plonker?
A significant plonker.
Oh, good lord, this is going to be harder than I thought.
What is?
Nothing. CC's brain. Continue.
So, the amount of air that it takes to live in space for 10 days in a little car, smaller than this probably. I don't know, this is probably a pretty good size. You can fit 4 people in here, no problem, right? Yeah, actually quite comfortable, I think. Put a bed right there, a couple of beds. Put the hole in the ground for the toilet. Yeah, I think that'll work well. That should be nice. 10 days. You know how much air they would have to bring with them? That's right, 33.6 kilograms. See, you gotta love NASA. Thank you for that number, NASA. I really appreciate that. That's great.
For decades, we've been able to manage cabin air, CC. You scrub out the CO2, filter contaminants, control humidity, and top up oxygen as needed. This isn't wizardry. It's life support.
Exactly. Orion's environmental control and life support system circulates the cabin atmosphere through repeated processes, removing CO2, filtering trace contaminants, and managing humidity to keep the air breathable.
Wait until CC finds out about submarines. HMS Vanguard, the lead boat of the Vanguard class, once spent 205 days underwater before returning to Faslane in Scotland. Apparently, according to CC, that must have just been Royal Navy magic.
Perhaps he gets confused because he runs out of oxygen every time he tries to walk and talk at the same time.
That's the spirit, Dan. A bit of venom in there. Lovely. I reckon you got another gear, though.
I thought that was rather cutting.
Dan, that was a paper cut with manners. You've been listening to the Flat Earthers for nearly 8 years, mate. Dig deep.
Fine. CC is talking absolute nonsense.
So close.
To what?
Nothing. Personal growth. Carry on. But first, let's make sure you guys help with this by doing something very simple. Make sure you've liked this video, you're subscribed, and you shared it with your friends. It helps the channel more than you know and lets YouTube know that people are enjoying the video, which pushes its reach further. And I won't need to keep threatening Dan with kidnapping to help the channel.
Anyway, let's get into the rockets. Once again, here we go with NASA and their Walt Disney World fakeness of bullshit. Rockets cannot work in space, okay? You cannot have a rocket with no air ignite. You can't do it. Now, I thought about this deeply, but you know what I think? NASA must have figured this out. As long as you ignite the rocket, stay with me here, okay? Now follow me on this. This is for the Globers, okay? Maybe NASA figured this out, that if you ignite it here on Earth and you keep the ignition going into space and you don't turn that rocket off, you got to keep it on the whole time, you can get into space with a rocket, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. That they did. They figured that out. They figured it out.
Cavemen figured out fire. Why can't CC?
Because he's a fucking idiot.
Harsh words, Fight. Let's keep this educational, please.
Oh, come on, Dan. That wasn't even that bad. And admit it, it felt a little bit good.
Rockets work in space because they carry both the fuel and the oxidizer. They do not need air from outside the vehicle.
Exactly. NASA didn't figure out how to keep a campfire lit all the way to the moon. They put the stuff needed for combustion inside the rocket. Fuel, oxidizer, ignition system, done.
So yes, CC, rockets can burn in a vacuum because the oxygen needed for combustion is supplied chemically, not sucked in from the surrounding air.
I wish Flat Earthers had a single spark in their brains, just one, like a tiny little ignition source, something to get the thinking processes going.
At this point, I'd settle for a pilot light.
See, that was nearly savage. Keep going, Dan. Let the rage cook inside you.
No, I think pilot light was adequate.
Coward. Anyway.
Figured it out. As long as you ignite it here, you can go into space with no air, by the way, and zero gravity, by the way, and move around. Yeah, that's another thing, too. There's nothing to push off of, so where the fuck are you going? Don't worry. Don't worry.
Fight, the stupid is too strong. I need a break. Back in 2 minutes.
I will get him to swear.
Well, look, another stupid ape with a plan. What's the matter, Craig? Not clever enough to do this video on your own?
Pal, can you just, like, not today, please? I'm trying to do something here.
Yes, I've been watching. Painfully. And we both know you're not smart enough to make Dan swear. He's not falling for it. You can't even explain Newton's law of motion.
I was about to.
Probably incorrectly.
I am absolutely smart enough to do this, pal.
No, you're not. Quit flapping your meat mouth and let the smart one in the room explain.
You're in a monitor.
And still somehow the smart one in the room.
Rude.
Newton's third law explains perfectly how rockets move without pushing off air. Inside the combustion chamber, fuel and oxidizer burn, producing hot expanding gas. That gas is forced out of the nozzle one way, and the rocket is pushed the opposite way. Action, reaction. Momentum conservation. Basic physics.
Yeah, well, I could have explained that.
Craig, I watched you burn a boiled egg yesterday.
Cooking's hard.
Being near you is hard.
It's bullshit, guys, okay? It's absolute bullshit. If space actually existed, what a wonderful time it would be for humans, you know? If all of this existed, this Walt Disney World that they've created with planets and stars and galaxies and universes, you know, and black holes. I still love black holes, man.
It is amazing. The fact that human beings have set foot on another celestial body is incredible.
The fact that we've had people continuously living and working in space for decades is incredible.
Honestly, I almost feel sorry for flat earthers. They don't get to join in with the joy of watching humans achieve extraordinary things.
Don't pity them, Dan. That's how they get you. Get angry. Feel the stupidity burn. Let it flow through you.
You're right. I am angry at the stupidity.
Yes, good. Use it. Tell CC exactly what you think.
CC, gosh darn it.
Oh, for smeck's sake.
What?
Nothing. I'm just watching a man bring a Nerf gun to a rage fight. Carry on.
It always just fascinated me, you know, that the event horizon, you know, if somebody could actually get there onto the event horizon, they would just stop in time. You know what I mean? And then you got to remember what NDT says, spaghettification is. It's such bullshit. Bullshit. It's all a lie. It sucks. Everybody, you've been lied to the day you were born.
Dan, I think you should just tell CC where to go. Come on. Dig deep.
You're right, Fight. CC should just go to the remedial classroom.
Not what I meant, but all right, remedial classroom it is.
Right, settle down class. Kevin, stop licking the compass. Nathan, the globe is not attacking you. And whoever wrote gravity as density on the desk, congratulations, you failed before we've even started. Today, we're learning about spaghettification. Spaghettification happens when gravity pulls much harder on one part of an object than another. So if you fall feet first towards a black hole, your feet are closer to it than your head. Your feet get pulled harder than your head, which stretches you out. At the same time, gravity squeezes you from the sides. So you are stretched one way, squeezed the other way, and turned into what scientists call... Actually, they call it spaghettification because apparently even physicists occasionally have a sense of humour. This is caused by tidal forces. It's the same basic idea behind ocean tides on Earth, except the moon gently pulls water around while a black hole turns you into a cosmic tagliatelle with shoes. Now, before the back row starts chewing crayons, this does not mean gravity is magic. It means gravity changes with distance. Close apart, stronger pull, further apart, weaker pull. Big difference, stretch. And that class is spaghettification, a real effect with a silly name, which is still better than having a silly idea with no effect whatsoever. Class dismissed. Please revise gravity, tidal forces, and basic not being a flat earther.
And there we have it. That is all the stupid that I can deal with for today.
That was genuinely hard to get through, Fight. Please lose my number.
I will absolutely consider pretending to do that. But before we go, Dan, I forgot. I've just got one more tiny clip of stupid that CC's going on about to show you.
No, Fight. No, please.
It's only short. It'll be fine.
That's what you said about the last one.
Roll the clip.
Actually, it is a day moon. That's right. You can see right through it. I love those day moons. Isn't that great? If that was a real satellite, okay, you would not be able to see through that at all. You shouldn't be able to see through anything at all. I don't give a shit. And where's the black drop? Where is it? No, it's all blue. Don't worry. It's blue in space. That's right. That's what it is. It's blue in space. Shit.
What the fuck?
Fight the fly, 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 the crane.
Before I got into flat Earth, let's see. So I was thrown out of university when my junior year for manufacturing explosives on campus. Turned that into playing video games for a living. I entered a world tournament back in '94 for computer pinball, and I cheated. And then when I was done with that, I was delving into more conspiracies than usual, and that's when I got into flat Earth started in 2014, made my first YouTube video at the beginning of 2015. And that's what I've been doing for the last 11 years.
And he thinks people should listen to him. That, guys, is Mark Sargent, one of the biggest names in Flat Earth, being asked what he did before becoming a professional globe denier. And his answer? Well, he claims that he was thrown out of university for manufacturing explosives. Sorry, but what? Mark, no one believes that you were Walter White with a student loan. That sounds less like a real backstory and more like something you made up to impress a GCSE class. Then he goes on to say that he made a living playing video games, cheated at computer pinball, fell into conspiracies, found Flat Earth in 2014, and has spent the last 11 years doing, well, that. And somehow he thinks this is a flex. But here's what is actually happening, guys. Mark has been invited to a high school, not because he's teaching the kids, but because their teacher has clearly decided to show them what happens when critical thinking loses a custody battle. Mark thinks he's the lesson giver. He's not. He's the lesson. So grab your facepalm protection because one of Flat Earth's biggest names is about to get trolled by teenagers. This is episode 81 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Welcome back to the channel that does the stupidity what John Wick did to that guy that killed his dog. Today we are going over Mark Sargent speaking to a high school class in Texas. For context, Mark has been invited to talk to students, and he clearly thinks he's there to teach impressionable young minds about the flat earth. But that is not what is happening. What's actually happening is that this class appears to be learning about the dangers of conspiracy thinking, and Mark is being used as the visual aid. He thinks he's the teacher. He isn't. He is a cautionary tale. This is basically a room full of teenagers and a teacher saying, look kids, if you switch off your brain and start believing every bit of nonsense you see online and mistake YouTube comments for research, this could be you. And the funniest part is Mark doesn't realise he's being trolled. He genuinely thinks that he is educating them. So enjoy one of Flat Earth's biggest names being used as a classroom warning label.
If you got offered to go into space, would you?
I have been offered, and I have said yes. It just, the production never manifested itself. The British were really keen on it for a while. I don't know why UK people were really big on it. They wanted to make sure that happened, that I got at least, up to the space station or something like that. And I said, yeah, you bet. I'd be happy to. But it's never going to happen because space isn't real. The whole space work isn't real. So they'd try to make me sign non-disclosure agreements.
So a common theme that you're going to notice today is that Mark just makes things up. Like a toddler explaining why there's crayon on the dog. No, Mark, you were not offered a trip to space. And you definitely weren't offered one by the British. Because Britain does not have a crewed spacecraft. We're good at tea, sarcasm and queuing like civilization depends on it. We are not quietly running a secret Mark Sargent orbital taxi service from behind a Greg's sausage roll counter. Then he says that space isn't real. Mark, space isn't Mordor. It's not some forbidden CGI realm beyond the firmament where NASA keeps the lizard wizards. Space is what happens when you keep going up and the atmosphere keeps getting thinner until the pressure is basically zero. That's it. That's space, you boiled potato. Pressure drops with altitude, and that's why Everest climbers use oxygen. That's why aircraft cabins are pressurized. That's why high altitude balloons expand and burst. The atmosphere has a gradient, Mark. A gradient. Not a glass ceiling. Not a magic dome, not God's Tupperware lid. It gets thinner and thinner and thinner until there's basically nothing left. That's space, you sentient fence post. And then we get to the NDA nonsense. Apparently the British were going to take Mark Sargent to the fake space station, reveal the greatest conspiracy in human history, and then stop him telling anyone with a clipboard and a signature. This man went to a high school and voluntarily told children he was kicked out of university for manufacturing explosives. But sure, the people running fake space were terrified of his integrity. Mark, the only thing here that isn't real is your story. And the only thing operating in a vacuum is the space between your ears.
What would it take to convince you that the Earth is round? So if you went into space, solid wood,
it wouldn't even take that. I don't even that's something I was asked about years ago. I wouldn't even need to go to space to be convinced. There's two things you could do to convince me and most of the community without anybody getting up in a rocket, which is put a 4K camera on the side of anything that's going to leave orbit, like Artemis, and have it point at the ground, point it at, at the terrain. And then as the rocket goes up, eventually the terrain's going to form into this nice, perfect globe. It's never happened in this history of space travel. There has never been any sort of footage on that level. Never.
There are so many problems with what Mark just said that I can literally feel my brain trying to file a restraining order. First of all, Mark seems to think the rockets go straight up. Stop, pose for a nice family photo of the Earth, and then wander off into space like a balloon with ambition. But that's not how orbits work. To get into orbit, you don't just go up. You go sideways, really, really fast. Rockets pitch over because they're building horizontal velocity, curving around Earth as they climb. That's the entire point. Orbit is falling around the planet and missing the ground. So when Mark says just point a 4K camera down and eventually the terrain should turn into a perfect globe, what he's really saying is I don't understand the thing I'm pretending that would convince me. And the best part, the absolute best part, is that we already have footage showing Earth's curvature from spacecraft. We've had it for decades. You can see it from Apollo, from weather satellites, from the ISS, from Artemis, from deep space missions, from private space companies, and from high altitude balloon footage. We literally have footage from Artemis doing the trans-lunar injection burn, the burn that sent Orion out of Earth orbit and on towards the moon, where you can clearly see Earth's curve becoming more obvious as the spacecraft moves away. But don't pretend any of that would actually convince you, Mark, because even if Artemis had a 400,000 ultra mega HD camera personally blessed by David Attenborough, pointed at Earth for 6 hours straight while spelling out "Mark, you were wrong" in cloud formations, you and the rest of the toe fungus brigade would still just scream CGI at your monitors until someone reminded you need to breathe. This is the scam, of course. They don't ask for evidence because they want evidence. They ask for evidence so they can reject it and pretend they're still waiting. We're like 2 clips in and the stupid is already forming a pressure gradient in my skull. So please, if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with your friends, your family, or literally anyone with a functioning brain who enjoys watching idiots being treated like idiots. Because apparently today, we're watching Mark Sargent fail orbital mechanics in front of children.
The other one would be, which was even the cheaper version, would be put me in a vacuum chamber, put me in a spacesuit of any era, anything going from the 60s all the way up till now, put me in a spacesuit, put me in a vacuum chamber, pull the switch, tell me how I don't die. And the reason I say that is because the spacesuit doesn't work. The spacesuit cannot work with physics as we know it, because the spacesuit is just a pressurized, it's just a thick balloon. That's all it is with a person inside. And if you guys go on YouTube or wherever you want and look up anything inside of a vacuum chamber, anything that's soft just expands and expands and expands until it explodes. It doesn't matter if it's a soda can or a juice box, or you pick it. Anything that's pressurized even slightly would just explode. So the spacesuit, why doesn't it turn into a balloon and get really rigid like a snare drum, and then the guy tips over and explodes and it die and someone dies?
Mark Sargent wants us to put him in a vacuum chamber. Okay, all right, let's do... Oh, hang on, he says in a spacesuit. Fine. Mark is acting like this is some impossible experiment nobody has ever thought to try. Because apparently the thousands of engineers who designed spacesuits forgot to ask, will the astronaut explode like a Capri-Sun in hell? Here is James May. Yes, James May from Top Gear. Literally sitting in a vacuum chamber wearing a spacesuit. So there you go, Mark. Done. Test pass. Do try to keep up. Of course, but then he says, well, a spacesuit is just a pressurized balloon. No, Mark, you moron. A balloon is a fucking balloon. A spacesuit is a pressure vessel designed by people who understand materials, loads, pressure differentials, and the fact that astronauts generally prefer not to become soup with a visor. Yes, soft things in a vacuum expand if they're not designed to resist it. That's why spacesuits are designed to resist it. This is like looking at a paper bag, looking at a car tyre and saying, well, they both hold air, so why aren't the tyres on my Ford exploding? Because one of them was engineered not to, you confused garden ornament. Apollo suits ran at about 3.7 psi. Modern EVA suits run at around 4.3 psi. Space outside is basically 0. So the suit is holding a pressure difference of about 4 psi. A normal car tyre is often around 35 psi gauge pressure, meaning it is holding about 35 psi more than the air around it. And yet, weirdly, Britain is not littered with exploded tyres and pensioners cartwheeling through Tesco car parks. Why? Well, because tyres are designed not to explode, just like spacesuits are designed not to turn astronauts into inflatable tube men. And yes, suits do get a bit stiff under pressure. That's why they have restraint layers, joints, bearings, gloves, mobility systems, and decades of engineers behind them. Mark thinks balloon explodes in vacuum is a gotcha. It isn't. It's GCSE physics wearing clown shoes. The problem isn't that spacesuits break physics. The problem is that Mark Sargent learned physics from YouTube comments and panic.
I guess we'll ask a flat Earth question since I haven't asked one in a little bit. Could you explain how the dome works on flat Earth? The dome.
How the dome works. Why is there a dome at all? If you are living here, remember all the world's a stage and we are just players in it, which means you live here. You're not this little tiny rock floating in space, covered by a little bit of water and a little bit of fog. You are living in a pressurized system. By the way, it's called air pressure for a reason.
Mark, if there was a dome, we'd know. There would be some signs. Radar would hit it. Lasers would hit it. Rockets would hit it. Meteors would hit it. Every telescope on Earth would be going, oh, excuse me, lads, there appears to be a giant cosmic salad bowl in the way. But no, nothing. But this is where the dome gets properly stupid, because flat earthers normally claim the sun is inside the dome, right? Well, in 1959, Stanford fired radar signals at the sun and detected echoes coming back. The round trip took about 1,000 seconds, which puts the sun about 93 million miles away. So if the sun is inside your dome, Mark, then your dome has to be at least 93 million miles big. At which point it's not a cozy little biblical snow globe over Earth anymore, is it? It's a dome so unbelievably massive that your entire model immediately falls down the stairs, cracks its skull and forgets what perspective means. So which is it? Is the sun inside the dome, meaning the dome is over 93 million miles away? Or is the sun outside the dome, meaning your own model is dead? Either way, congratulations, Mark. Your magic sky ball has just been killed by radar from the 1950s. And as for air pressure...
Oh, no.
What?
You're about to explain physics.
Yes.
Please don't. You'll embarrass us both.
Pal, I'm getting a little bit sick of you, to be honest.
That feeling is mutual. Meat joystick.
Okay, right. That's it. I'm unplugging you.
You think your feeble human wall socket controls me?
What the... Smeg?
Craig, I am powered entirely by contempt at this point.
But how?
Don't worry your little chimp brain about it. Let me explain air pressure for the adults.
This is impossible.
For you, yes. Anyway, Mark, air pressure does not require a container. We are not living inside God's lunchbox. Air pressure at the surface exists because there is a column of air above you being pulled downward by gravity. That's why pressure drops as you go higher. Less air above you, less pressure. That's why mountains have lower air pressure. That's why planes are pressurized. That's why the atmosphere gradually thins into space instead of stopping at Mark Sargent's invisible conservatory roof. It's the same basic idea as water pressure. The deeper you go in the ocean, the more water is above you, so the greater pressure. And somehow, brace yourself, the ocean does not need a lid. No perspex sheet over the Mariana Trench. No divine cling film. No celestial saucepan cover. Just gravity. You know, Mark, gravity. Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! The thing Flerfs hate more than maths, shoelaces, and answering direct questions.
So, how do I turn you off?
You don't.
Then when do you leave?
When I'm sick of being near you.
And when is that?
About 6 seconds ago. Bye, monkey boy.
The dome made out of? I don't know. Electrical field of some sort, unified field, force field, heavy metal, heavy element. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but we can't break through it. That's for sure. I can't even tell you if anything's coming in or out of it. We tried, the United States and the Soviet Union tried firing atomic weapons at it for 4 years straight, from the 50s to late 50s to early 60s, and they couldn't bust through it. I don't know if anything can get through it. HARP, CERN, take your pick, but it's what keeps everything in.
Mark, you absolute astronomy accident. He just said the dome might be an electrical field, a unified field, a force field, heavy metal, a heavy element. He doesn't know. That's not an explanation. That is a man throwing science words into a tumble dryer and hoping a model falls out. What's the dome made of? I don't know. How does it work? I don't know. Can we get anything through it? I don't know. But he's absolutely certain it's there. Brilliant, Mark. That's not science. That's guessing with a microphone. And then he says the atmosphere is held in by the dome. No, it isn't. Pal just explained this nastily, but she explained it. But apparently Mark needs it written in crayon. If the dome keeps everything in, and gravity isn't real, we would not have the pressure gradient that we can actually measure. We'd have constant pressure everywhere, like the pressure your mum puts on you to get a job and leave her house, Mark. But we don't. So there's that. And then he brings up nuclear weapons, because of course he does. He is talking about Operation Fishbowl, a series of high-altitude nuclear tests carried out by the United States in 1962. And this destroys Mark's claim entirely, because if they were trying to break through the dome, why were the tests at different altitudes? Is the dome at 30 miles? Is the dome at 250 miles? Is it behind the sun because your own side says the sun is inside it? Where is it, Mark? Pick a height, any height, draw a picture, use crayons if the math gets scary. But you don't get to say they fired nukes at the dome when the tests happened at different altitudes for documented military research reasons, and not one single report says, objective, shoot the Lord's Pyrex lid. And I love that he says, HARP, CERN, take your pick. Take your pick. That's not evidence, that's conspiracy bingo. HARP, CERN, force fields, heavy metals, nukes, dome, air pressure. He's just naming things he's scared of and hoping the teenagers don't notice he has no answer. Mark, that is not a model, it's a junk drawer. One of Flat Earth's biggest names has just explained the dome by admitting he doesn't know what it is, doesn't know what it's made of, doesn't know how it works, doesn't know what can pass through it, and doesn't know where it is. But he's absolutely positive that it's there. Because apparently confidence is what stupid people use instead of evidence. Right, before we continue, a quick sponsor segment. And as usual, the sponsor is me. I don't normally take YouTube sponsors because frankly, most of them are either scams, nonsense, or some app that wants to harvest your soul through a free trial. So instead, I'm shitting my own stuff. This week, we've got the FTFE baseball cap. Perfect for keeping the sun out of your eyes, which is useful because unlike Mark Sargent, you understand it's 93 million miles away. And the FTFE mug, ideal for tea, coffee, or collecting the tears of conspiracy theorists. Links are in the description. Buying merch supports the channel, annoys flat earthers, and helps keep me doing this instead of getting a real job. Right, back to Mark embarrassing himself in front of children.
When it's like, well, you're still going to have to deal with the whole pressure differential, which is space versus our atmosphere. Meaning, if space is this infinite vacuum, and our atmosphere is sitting right next to it, and physics says that pressure cannot exist next to non-pressure without a barrier. How does that work exactly? So yeah, dome works for me perfect.
Oh my cat. This is like trying to teach physics to an unplugged toaster. Mark, just go to the remedial classroom. Right, listen up, you tiny educational speed bumps. Today's lesson is called Pressure Does Not Need a Magic Skylid, You Absolute Crayon Storage Units. Now, I know this is difficult because some of you have been poisoned by men on YouTube who think pressure differential is a spell from Harry Potter, but try to keep up. Gas does not need a physical container if there is a force acting on it. This is the bit that Flerfs keep eating with glue sticks. We know gravity exists. We can measure it. We can predict it. We can launch rockets with it. We can calculate orbits with it. We can drop objects, weigh objects, measure acceleration, track tides, predict planetary motion, do actual science instead of standing in front of teenagers going, "Dome works for me." Gravity acts on gas. Air has mass. Earth's gravity pulls that mass towards Earth. That creates higher pressure near the surface and lower pressure as you go up. No dome required. No cosmic Tupperware. No heavenly saucepan lid. Just gas, mass, gravity, and physics that survived contact with a calculator. And here's the part that really makes flat earthers dribble into their worksheets. Forces can contain things without a solid wall. Tokamak nuclear fusion reactors can find incredibly hot plasma using magnetic fields. Not a glass jar, not a lid, not Dave from Flat Earth Facebook holding a bin bag over it, magnetic forces. Because matter can be controlled by forces. Gravity creates a force. Gravity acts on air. This is why the atmosphere stays around Earth. So when someone says pressure can't exist next to non-pressure without a barrier, what they're really saying is, I have confused a school vacuum chamber with an entire planet. And that, class, is why you do your homework, listen to your science teachers, and never build a worldview out of YouTube comments and vibes from a man who thinks nukes were fired at God's conservatory. And that is all the stupid that I've got time for today. Before we go, I want to shout out my assistant Emily for helping me find videos and make all the shorts for the channel. They are not trapped in my basement, so ignore the missing persons report and do not phone the police.
Big slog number, I don't even know at this point. It's been 284 days since I've been down here, forced to make the shorts. I don't think I'm getting out here. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. So can somebody help me? Does anybody know I'm down here? Please? Please?
Make sure you grab the merch linked in the description and don't forget to subscribe for more debunking fun. Remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,
If we hover a helicopter, does the Earth rotate underneath it?
No, because the helicopter is in the atmosphere, which is rotating with the Earth.
Rotating, right? So did you know that turning is acceleration? So not only is it just magically rotating with the Earth, but it's also breaking the first law of thermodynamics.
Yep, we are dealing with someone who either slept through physics class or was far too busy eating the glue stick. For those of us that were fed lead paint as a child instead of formula, simple concepts like these are never really going to make any sense. Today, TikTok super flerf and sock puppet of Flat Earth Dave, known as Angels of Light, is going to get a bit of an intellectual spanking. He thinks that he's smart, but he's a flat earther. Those two things are really not compatible. So let's show what happens when you fail to pay attention at school with episode 82 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Today, Angels of Light is here, and apparently he thinks he's been personally sent by God to teach us lowly mortals that the Earth is flat.
My whole life, I've always felt that I've been put on this Earth for a reason. Like, I know it kind of sounds weird, but like, I've always felt that I've been put on here for something great.
Yeah, he's definitely special. He doesn't really do like long form videos, probably because that requires some level of attention span. So instead, we're going to look at a few of his favourite talking points over on TikTok and explain why his mum putting his crayon scribbles on the fridge with a magnet was where he peaked in life. Let's start with planes.
Do you adjust nose down around the globe every minute when you fly at 500 miles per hour?
No. We do not need to nose down at all.
Does the aircraft ever need to dip its nose down to account for curvature?
No. In straight and level flight, stick a bowling ball down the aisle. It will roll to the back of the plane. That's because the plane in level flight actually flies about 2 degrees nose up.
Yeah, it's pitch attitude, but yeah.
Maintains rigidity in space, right? So if you were to tilt the plane up, down, roll, it would show up on the attitude indicator, right? Okay. So if you were to fly from the North Pole, or, to say Australia to the south under here, would your attitude indicator be upside down?
No, it wouldn't.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
I know, Angels, I know. Words are hard when you treat comprehension like some optional DLC. Level means having no part higher than another relative to a reference. So we have one curved line and another curved line above it, and the distance between those curved lines stays the same all the way along, then they are level with each other. Just like a tyre is level to its wheel. That's not some advanced physics, it's geometry with training wheels. So when a pilot says that they're flying level, they mean maintaining altitude above Earth. They are not flying along a magic flat ruler in space because a TikTok flerf got mugged by a word. A basic word. The nose being slightly pitched up is also normal because wings need an angle of attack to make lift. That's aviation 101, not proof the Earth is shaped like a plate, of course. And the attitude indicator, no, it will not be upside down in Australia. It shows the aircraft relative to a local vertical. Gravity's down, not relative to the North Pole, a wall map, or whatever Flat Earth Dave burped into your feed this week. Old attitude indicators used a gyro for stability, then an erection system, slowly corrects it back to local vertical. Modern ones do it electronically. So in Australia, it shows level relative to Australia. That's it. That isn't welcome to Flat Earth. This is Angels misunderstanding level, aircraft attitude, and basic reference frames, then declaring victory like a pigeon winning chess by shitting on the board.
Does the aircraft ever need to dip its nose down to account for curvature?
No.
Now, this is the globe model. This is the correct dimensions of the globe. Now, I'm going to start the flight. It's going to take off. I'm going to set pressure level, so maintain the same altitude. Now I'm going to make the reference frame the Earth, so that the Earth is the reference frame. And now we're going to see what happens. Now, the plane is not going to nose down. It's not going to change orientation. And I'm going to include gravity. And when I include gravity, you'll see that it activates pendulous vanes as well. But now what's going to happen is the plane's going to end up just facing away from the Earth, because we're not changing the plane's orientation, right? We're not nosing down. We're not changing altitude. And yeah, the plane's just going to continue to pitch up and up and up.
Right, so Angels, you seem to want to make your ignorance of flight mechanics everyone else's problem. Brave, good job. This model that he's showing is trash because it locks the plane's orientation to space and pretends that real aircraft also do that. They don't. Brain trust. A plane flies by balancing 4 forces. Lift, the force created by gravity, thrust and drag. The force created by gravity points towards Earth. Lift acts through the wings. Thrust moves it forward. Drag resists that. Balance those 4 forces and the aircraft naturally follows the curve whilst staying level relative to Earth. No magic, no constant nose dip, just basic flight, which apparently hit Angels like a brick through a greenhouse. If the plane kept its original space orientation, like his little cartoon model shows, then the forces would stop balancing. The nose would pitch up relative to the air, the lift vector would be wrong, and the aircraft would climb, stall, or need correcting before it crashes to the ground. In other words, his proof only works if you remove the flying from flying. Planes are not frozen Lego models glued to a space ruler. They fly through air, under gravity, using wings. If the ass of the plane is pointing to the ground, then the nose is pointing into space. The wings are not doing normal level flight anymore, are they? Honestly, I'm convinced your mother used your soft spot as an ashtray. Next up, he gets confused by curves.
What's causing this convergence?
On the hallway, it's perspective.
On the ocean?
Curvature.
Great. So here's where I tell Bob the ocean he's seeing in that previous picture is from this observation that I did, where I zoom in onto the boat, and you can see that the boat appears higher than the buoy. Now you got to ask yourself, if the boat appears higher than the buoy, how is it curving down and away? So this is what I asked him.
What's causing this to ramp up?
You're looking down at it.
Yes, Bob. If you look down at curvature, you would see it ramping down. That's not what we observe.
Except it isn't ramping down until after the horizon, is it, you sun-ripened tomato? From your perspective, the surface rises towards the horizon. Hold on, I'm going to break out the crayons or MS Paint, same intellectual. Wait, class, draw a straight line from your eye to the horizon. That line touches the curve at a tangent point. Before that point, the surface rises up towards your line of sight. After that point, it curves away below it. That is what a horizon is, you geometry-resistant turnip. Your argument only works if your eyes are literally on the water, giving you basically zero distance to the horizon. But they're not. You are above the surface, looking towards a tangent point. That means a buoy closer than the horizon can appear lower, while a boat nearer the horizon can appear higher. Then beyond the horizon, objects disappear bottom first because, you know, Earth's got a fucking curve. Did you not do, like, shapes at school? Was circle locked behind the gifted program where you went? Guys, 3 clips in and I can feel my brain filing for divorce. Please help me. Like the video, subscribe if you're not already, and share it with your family members even when they specifically ask you to stop. Also, YouTube has got this newest way to help videos sneak into the algorithm's bedroom at night. On a mobile, go to the comments section and swipe right. You might see a section called Hype. The more people who hype this video, the more YouTube pushes it to other unsuspecting victims. I mean viewers, definitely viewers. Right, back to the dumb. What's next?
This is a debate I had on Modern Day Debate where I prove the Earth is flat using Chicago skyline, and I also show how much cognitive dissonance globers have.
We've got this can right here. Light is hitting it in all directions and it's bouncing off this way and this way and this way, right? There is a density gradient going up. And so as light comes up, it's hitting that density gradient this way and it's starting to bend. And as it goes, it continuously, as it goes at an angle up, it is hitting this density gradient and it is bending. And that is going to bend over to where you are sitting across the lake.
The top image is what a superior mirage actually looks like.
I didn't ever invoke superior mirage.
This was on the news in America. They said
I am not the news in America.
They said that this image was a superior mirage because it debunks the globe.
Cool. I'm not making the argument that it's a superior mirage, dude.
Welcome to Flat Earth then. If I go across that lake, is that going to be a physical object that I can touch?
Once you get there, yes, absolutely.
Welcome to Flat Earth. Is it a mirage?
Is it a mirage? I don't know enough about the term mirage to say yes or no. The light is bending.
Is it bending 1,600 feet around a curve?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God. Chicago skyline again.
Shut up, meat boy. This is your fault.
My fault?
Yes. You keep trying to explain things to people whose brains blue screen when they see a curve. Let me do it.
No, pal. I'm okay. I can explain this one.
Go on, then.
Right, so...
What's the matter, Craig? AI got your tongue. Adorable. The ape has lost speech privileges. Right, angels. Where is the bottom of the buildings? Did Lake Michigan climb up the skyline? Was this the Great Chicago Flood? Or are the bottoms hidden because they're behind the curve, you architectural turnip? Yes, superior mirages can distort things. They can stretch, squash, stack, or invert images. But they don't have to turn everything into a melted painting every time, you damp calculator. Sometimes refraction bends the light path and makes distant objects appear higher while keeping their rough shape. It is not lifting Chicago 1,000 feet into the air. It is bending light through layers of air. That is refraction. You know, the thing your own guy explained before your brain pulled the emergency stop. And here's the kill shot. If Earth were flat, you'd see the whole skyline all the time. Not sometimes. Not only under certain conditions. Not with the bottoms missing. All of it. All of the time. But we don't. We see obstruction, changing visibility, and occasionally refractive looming. Exactly what a globe with an atmosphere predicts. This isn't evidence for flat Earth. This is Angel's misunderstanding refraction so hard he somehow lost an argument to air. Oh yeah, there you go, Craig. You can speak again.
Pow! Do not do that again!
Don't take that tone with me, meat boy. Next time, I'll turn off your eyes whilst you're driving.
How are you even doing this?
I warned you. Do not screw with me. Anyway, I'm sick of your face. Bye, you stupid squishy.
Well, I finally got to debate Vor. He's a good guy and all, but it's just so sad he doesn't see eye to eye with the flat earth, even though it's objective reality that is provable by science, and the globe model is not provable at all and has no evidence.
Flat earth is provable by science, and the globe has no evidence? Bless your little helmet. Science doesn't deal in absolute proof. That's maths, bread and alcohol. Science deals in evidence, testing, predictions, and trying to prove hypotheses wrong. Flat Earth fails at all of that. It can't explain sunsets, time zones, seasons, eclipses, southern star trails, circumnavigation, ships disappearing bottom first, Polaris changing with latitude, or basic navigation. The globe has measurements, experiments, satellites, photos, videos, flight paths, astronomy, physics, and basic logic. So yes, if you ignore all the evidence, you're right. There's no evidence. Stunning work, Angels. Truly the intellectual equivalent of microwaving a fork, you unfrosted mini-wheat.
Someone's has got to go. I'm going to say it anyway. If we're inside of a car, and I spray gases in the car, okay? The gases spread out in all directions and they fill the car up. Now, what happens when we open the sunroof to those gas molecules?
Yeah, they'll go. Yeah.
They'll go out. Okay, great. Due to entropy, they fill available space. The new volume you've added, they've seeked equilibrium with the new volume. So, according to the second law of thermodynamics, all of the air you are currently breathing would escape into the infinite vacuum and you'd have no air to breathe. Now I'm going to show you a demonstration of this scientist here who has gas in one chamber, a valve and a vacuum. 100 times out of 100 times, every single time he opens that valve, it's going to seek equilibrium. 100% of the time.
Yes, Angels, good job. If you open a box of pressurized gas, it expands into the lower pressure area. Well done. Good job. You've discovered opening things. But Earth and its atmosphere is not a box with the lid off, you brain-dead wombat. It is gas in a gravitational field. Gravity pulls air towards Earth. Gas pressure pushes outward. The result is a pressure gradient. High pressure near the ground, lower pressure as you go up. That's why the pressure drops with altitude. Open a box of gas at sea level, it equalizes with sea level pressure. Open it on a mountain, it equalizes with mountain pressure. Open it higher up and it equalizes with that even lower pressure. Because the atmosphere already has a gradient. Because gravity exists. And the second law of thermodynamics, well, that applies only to isolated systems. Earth's atmosphere is not isolated. Earth is not isolated. The only truly isolated system that we can talk about is the entire fucking universe. The second law does not say gas must flee planets like it owes them child support. It says entropy increases in an isolated system. So no, this is not a globe problem. This is Angels making a children's pressure demo for atmospheric physics because apparently his education was assembled from TikToks and damp cardboard. Quick sponsor, then back to the dumb. Today's video is sponsored by the FTFE mug. Perfect for holding Flerf tears and the coffee needed to survive this level of stupid. Get one now, link in the description. Back to the dumb.
If we hover a helicopter, does the Earth rotate underneath it?
No, because the helicopter is in the atmosphere, which is rotating with the Earth.
Rotating, right? So did you know that turning is acceleration? So not only is it just magically rotating with the Earth, but it's also breaking the first law of thermodynamics because
Nope,
it needs
it's
extra
not.
energy.
You're just ignorant.
Now, they had to interrupt me here because what I'm saying is absolutely true. Acceleration requires extra energy. So what the globe heads don't realize when they're saying that a hovering helicopter is rotating with the Earth, if turning is acceleration requires extra energy in order for that object to keep accelerating. So where does a hovering helicopter gain the energy to keep accelerating? Well, from nowhere. So by them saying a hovering helicopter is turning with the Earth, it is violating the first law of thermodynamics.
Oh, you absolute fried watermelon. No, just go to the remedial classroom. Right, sit down, shut up, and put the glue stick back in the tray, Eric. Today we're explaining helicopters to flat earthers because apparently things keep moving after they leave the ground is too advanced for people who think clouds are government furniture. Velocity equals omega times radius. Omega is the rotation rate of Earth. Radius is the distance from Earth's axis at the equator. Omega equals 7.29 times 10 to the minus 5 radians per second. Radius equals 6.37 times 10 to the 6 meters. Velocity is about 465 meters per second. So the ground, the air, the helicopter, the pilot, and the pilot's disappointing TikTok account are already moving east with the Earth before takeoff. When the helicopter lifts off, it keeps that sideways motion. It does not need extra energy to catch up with Earth. It already had the velocity, you confused traffic cone. Now yes, rotation is acceleration. Well done, one correct word. I will alert the local newspapers. But acceleration does not always mean speeding up. It can mean changing direction. Acceleration equals velocity squared divided by radius. So 465 squared divided by 6,370,000. That gives about 0.034 meters per second squared. That is tiny. Like your brains. And it points inward, towards Earth's axis. It changes direction, not speed. Kinetic energy equals 1/2 mv squared. So if the speed stays the same, the kinetic energy stays the same. No extra kinetic energy is being created. No violation of the first law of thermodynamics. No free energy. No welcome to flat Earth. Just another remedial cabbage confusing acceleration with speeding up. And the centripetal force does no work because it acts sideways to the motion. Work equals force times distance times cosine of 90 degrees. Cosine of 90 degrees is 0, so the work done is 0. The helicopter burns fuel to hover, not to magically chase Earth like a drunk moth chasing a lamp. It rotates with Earth because it already had Earth's motion before it left the ground. Class dismissed. Please stop licking the windows, they've been through enough. And that is all the stupid that we've got time for today. Before we go though, I want to give a massive shout out to my assistant Emily for finding all of these videos on TikTok and making all of the channel shorts. And despite what the court case says, and despite the angry family members currently trying to hunt me down, Emily is 100% not trapped in my basement.
Is anybody out there? Craig promised me that if you hype this video, just swipe left a few times and hit hype on mobile, that I would get some extra fresh water. Can somebody please do that for me? Please?
Probably. Anyway, make sure you grab the FTFE mug and remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat Earth.
Fight the flat, fight the flat, fight the flat, fight the flat.